The entire basis for the government shutdown is that the Trump administration correctly does not want to send hundreds of billions of dollars to fund illegal immigrants in the blue states.
What Democrats are doing here, they're making plans to keep the shutdown going.
The Democrats want to keep the money spigot going to incent illegal immigrants to come into the U.S. who will vote for them. That's the crux of the battle.
And you all have just figured out, 29 days in, that, there might be some consequences. There are people who run out of money.
What's going on right now, they have been funding these people. They've been giving them EBT cards. They've been giving them Medicaid.
This isn't a political game. These are real people's lives that we're talking about.
They were taking hotels, like 4- and 5-star hotels. The Roosevelt Hotel being the classic example. They were sending, I think, $60 million a year to the Roosevelt Hotel. All it did was house illegals.
And we've tried to do that 13 times. You voted no 13 times.
The Trump administration cut off funding, for example, have luxury hotels for illegal immigrants that American citizens can't even afford.
13 times. People over here fund.
We just got the first big development from the new Epstein email releases, and it's former Harvard president and Bill Clinton's Treasury Secretary, Larry Summers, who just announced he's stepping back from public commitments. Yeah, although he said he'll remain teaching 3 classes at Harvard. Yeah, which maybe he should rethink because new emails show that Summers and Epstein maintain a friendship and emailed back and forth all the way up until the day before Epstein was arrested in July of 2019. I mean, this was after much was known about Epstein's sickness, yet Summers didn't seem to care. Yeah, no defending Larry out of me. Some of the worst parts about their email exchanges were Larry went to Epstein for advice on females, including leveraging into bed a Chinese economist whose father is a senior CCP official that Summers supported and flattered. Plus, Larry called Epstein his wingman, helping him pick up a girl he was mentoring. Yup, and all these exchanges happened with Summers being married since 2005. Yeah, Summers called it a lack of judgment and he apologized, although we should make it clear that there was nothing in these emails suggesting Summers did anything inappropriate with minors. On the other hand, the email that got released relating to Trump last week had Epstein admitting that Trump knew about the girls. Well, the difference here is clear. Larry Summers' emails were with him and Epstein communicating directly all the way up to the day before his arrest. The shit about Trump is just Epstein babbling on with Ghislaine, and I don't think we can trust a word either of them have ever said. Well, the question remains, what else is in the files? Well, the funny thing about all these emails is that none of them were from the files. They were from the Epstein estate, which was subpoenaed by the House Oversight Committee, which is a new trove of evidence that because of Republican leadership in the House is becoming public for the first time ever. Cool, great, awesome. There's reason to believe, though, that there's more of this in the files being held at the DOJ, as those contain the pieces of investigatory evidence gathered looking into Epstein's actual crimes. So I wonder what is being held there. And we're getting into those too, thanks to Republicans. Biden ain't do shit in this category for 4 years. Well, Trump ain't done much either, and we're starting to see why. Larry Summers. Whoa, a 3-judge panel just ruled that Texas's congressional map redraw that they just did violates the Voting Rights Act and constitutional protections against racial discrimination. This is what we call a horrible ruling. The 3-judges panel vote was 2-1 with both a Trump-appointed and an Obama-appointed judge coming together to block this new map, enforcing Texas to revert to their 2021 map, which will hopefully take away those 5 new Republican seats in the midterms. Well, Texas will appeal this ruling and it skips the appellate court and will go straight to the Supreme Court, where hopefully they will issue an emergency stay on this ruling, letting the new map stay in place for the 2026 midterms. I mean, this new redraw actually increased the amount of Hispanic majority districts from 7 to 8 and created 2 new majority black districts where previously there were none. Okay, that's a very deceptive framing, because we know both Hispanics and black people vote majority Democratic. So when they're pushed for power, Texas Republicans engaged in what's called packing, which is packing many minority voters into a few districts, and cracking, which is splitting minority voters across multiple districts so they lose influence. So with this combination, the court ruled they racially discriminated, which is absurd. Texas Republicans had made clear their intention had nothing to do with race and everything to do with drawing the maps favorably for Republicans. Obviously, which the Supreme Court ruled in 2019, courts can't strike down political gerrymandering. Well, what's favorable for Republicans is diluting minority voter strength. That's the point you're missing. There's different ways to look at politics rather than strictly through the race lens. For instance, the majority of Hispanic men voted for Trump in 2024, so I think the political divide is much more rural versus urban and rich versus poor than race-based, and those were likely larger factors in this redraw than race. Well, a Trump-appointed judge disagrees with you, because in the ruling they explained how the whole impetus for this redraw was based on a threat from the DOJ telling them their coalition districts were unconstitutional. Therefore, in order for it to be constitutional, they had to redraw based on race. Something's fishy. Well, yeah, the DOJ thought the previous 2021 Texas drawing was a violation of the Voting Rights Amendment that diluted minority voting power, which caused this new redraw. Yeah, that was an excuse for power. Well, let's see what the Supreme Court says. Great.
And all right, guys, we are live. Yo, this is Set with Set Media, guys, and I'm back with another one for you. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this Trump interview. Then we're going to get into Trump getting some tough questions with the Saudi prince about, well, their involvement in 9/11 and a whole lot more to get into, guys. So appreciate the support for you tuning in, and let's make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's go.
Thank you for giving GB News this opportunity to talk to you and to hear from you. We've spent some time on your trips to the UK recently and had some conversations, but this is the first time we're getting to sit down and talk. And I've spent a little while in America now, and I've been really struck by the sense of positivity here, the can-do attitude. Is really in contrast to the UK and more broadly Europe, actually, which feels like it's in the doldrums at the moment, economically, socially, really struggling.
Right.
And that's been a long-term project, I think. But you've proven that leaders don't just have to sit around writing strongly worded letters. You can actually get stuff done in a short space of time. How have you done it?
Well, if you look, you talk about Europe and other places, but this was a place that was moribund. It was a disaster, the U.S. under the Biden administration, and there was no spirit. Nobody wanted to go into the military. You know, the recruitment was at record lows. Everything that was bad, it just couldn't get, I don't think, much worse outside of.
And I'll tell you this, why Great Britain was over there dealing with legal immigration problems, we was dealing with illegal immigration problems. So we both got immigration problems, but for some reason, the way they allow their immigrants to come in is kind of effing them up through the legal process. And what's effing us up is the fact that, well, the immigrants are skirting our legal process and coming through illegally.
A total collapse. And we've turned it around. You know, it's my 10th month. And I think nobody's done what I've done. It's the hottest country in the world right now. The U.S. right now is the hottest country in the world. The King of Saudi Arabia, other leaders, they said, a year ago, your country was dead, and now you have the hottest country in the world, so it can be done. I'm so saddened to see what happened in Europe with the immigration. I think above all else, the immigration, but the bad taxing policies. When you look at, Europe is not the same place. No. I can't say every place, but pretty much almost every place. There are a couple of places, and I won't even get into that because those are the people, the leaders that aren't liked by the other European leaders. Yeah. But what's happened is so sad to Europe. And I think probably you have the same problem that we do with the fake news. You know, if you don't get the news out and properly, it's never going to change. But Europe, I love Europe. Hey, I'm originally from
Scotland, right? Yeah.
And between
I mean, let's be real. Yeah. What happened to Europe was a legal immigration problem. For some reason, Europe-wide, it was letting in, well, people from, I'm going to say this, the countries weren't questionable, but the people that they were letting in were questionable. And like I said, they went through legally, but their vetting in these European countries is pretty poor. So this led to a lot of heinous crimes happening in these countries or these European countries. And of course, also taking over certain parts of their country, you know, like neighborhoods and all that. Nothing crazy.
Scotland and Germany, right?
Yeah.
A German father and Scottish mother.
Somewhat crazy.
And a great mother, by the way, I have to tell you, great father, great mother. So I have a little prejudice toward Europe in those two places, but it's so sad to see what they're doing.
So how have you done it? Is it about your team, your vision, your drive? You know, from day one, you were signing executive orders.
Yeah.
The pace of change here is remarkable. I almost don't know what you're going to do for the next few years. You've done so much in such a short space of time.
Well, we have a strong border.
Yeah.
We have a lot of spirit. DEI is dead. It's dead. It's not even talked about anymore. Yeah. You know, like I saw this morning on television, a well-known Democrat congressman fighting with the anchor, somebody like you, but not as talented, because you wouldn't have let him get away with it, but fighting with over men playing in women's sports. Mm-hmm. I said they haven't learned because we won in a landslide. We won everything. We won all 7 swing states. We won by millions of votes.
Yeah, it's either they engage in the debate and lose, or they try to minimize it and be like, oh, why does it matter? Why do you care what trans people do? And they're only 1% of the population, you know, as if not just one of them walking into female spaces causes a problem. But hey, they just minimize them. They just minimize it or just lose in the debate. Either way they still lose.
We won in every way you could win in like record numbers. And I see this man fighting with an anchor about men playing in women's sports. Here we go again. about open borders. He wants open borders where people can come in from prisons. I mean, when you look at Europe, where they're coming from some of the worst places on earth, and you're destroying your country. And I've told some of the leaders of Europe, you've got to stop. Your immigration is going to destroy you. If you get people from the wrong people, in our case, we had people coming in from jails, from mental institutions, from the drug dealers, and some of the worst scum. And we're getting them out, and we've got a lot of them out. If you look at some of our cities that we've sent the military in to correct, Washington, D.C. was very unsafe, and now it's the safest place in the country. It took me 2 months to make it good, less actually, but 2 months to make it really good now. Everyone's having dinners there. We have these beautiful, nice military guys all over the place. And they look good. To me, they look good because it means safety. But
yeah, I mean, since Trump brought in the National Guard to D.C., crime has went down. I mean, Memphis allowed the same thing for Trump to let in the National Guard. Well, for their governor and for the Memphis city mayor to let in the National Guard. And what happened? They cleaned up crime, not just in the highly populated city areas, but also outwards as well in the hood, in the neighborhood. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe the National Guard needs to come to Chicago. It's going to be a bit more of a difficult task, but I mean, hey, if you can go ahead and handle DC and Memphis, why not take on Chicago?
we took out 1,700 career criminals and criminals from other countries that came in like they come into your country. And Europe has to do something about it. Well, we are doing something. Even Chicago, we have a bad governor and a bad mayor, and we're fighting with them all the time. But crime is down now 40%. And we've just done a little splurge, and crime is down 40%. In Memphis, we're in Memphis right now, Memphis, Tennessee, very, very dangerous, bad place. We've almost got it fixed, and this is after a month, less than a month. What it shows is it can be done. And Washington, D.C. is such a great example because people were afraid to walk outside, and now they're walking down with their children in the middle of the street.
I'm a big fan of the National Guard here.
Right.
I'm pretty much on first name terms with the guys on the corner of my street. And they're so friendly, and you see them putting shopping in the car of old women. And it counters this idea that they're an aggressive presence on the street. They're not.
I know they try to like radicalize these guys, talk about a military state, and they're just there to police you. But no, they're there to lock up the bad guys, help the old ladies, and clean up around the city. I mean, what's wrong with that?
We've got such a crime problem in London. And I wonder whether S.E.T should do something similar.
He's a terrible, terrible mayor. And as an example...
Oh, guys, let's not forget to double tap that screen and like the video. We got about 300 y'all in here. Do me a favor and double tap that screen. Appreciate the support, guys.
You know, I was a high-ranking officer, sort of always, or a president. Even as a civilian, you know, I was a respected person. He treated me very badly. I said, who is that guy? He's a terrible mayor. And look at the crime you have in London. My mother loved London. She loved that city. She'd always talk about, that was a different London than you have today. Today you have people being stabbed in the ass or worse. But no, it's crazy.
It's true. It's awful. It is.
I know, right? Hey, they got rid of the guns, but everybody starts stabbing each other. I mean, then what? They're going to get rid of the knives, and everybody's going to start stoning each other. And then what? You're going to start getting rid of all of the rocks? Like, what you going to do? Just be a rockless civilization? It's effed up, but it's kind of funny.
It feels much safer here.
Your mayor is a disaster. Okay, I can tell. I don't know him. I don't even know what. If you put him there, I wouldn't even know who he was. I can tell you, he is a disaster. He's a nasty person. And he's letting crime go. You have areas in London, and you have this in Paris too, where the police don't even want to go anywhere near those areas. You have Sharia law where they don't even want to obey the laws of, you know, your country or France or other countries. And you have much worse conditions than even that. It's crazy what's gone on with Europe. And, you know, I'll do this interview. I hope it's not too controversial because, to be honest with you, it's just fact. It's not like there should be no controversy. And they have to do something. One other thing, energy. Your country has the North Sea. It's one of the greatest energy fields in the world. They make it impossible for anybody to drill environmentally. They make it, and taxation-wise, they want almost 100% of the money that comes out. So you have these great oil companies that can't go there.
Yeah, the problem with green energy in Europe is that it's subsidized on the backs of, well, Europeans. Sadly, yes, you guys pay these little premiums or however they want to say, but you guys pay a little bit more on your energy bill to subsidize green energy. So, good luck with that, guys. I wish the best for you.
Because, and then they say, well, it's been there a long time. It's
Some of our
used.
states do the same.
You've got 1,000 years of life there. That's one of the most vibrant, and it's also some of the best oil. It's really, you have good oil, medium oil, but you have some of the best oil. Some of it's so good you almost don't have to refine it. It's so good. You have this huge asset sitting there, and you're destroying your country with windmills all over the place. I mean, I fly over Scotland, and I fly over parts of the UK in helicopter a lot. And I'm looking down and I see these gorgeous fields being destroyed by windmills. The most expensive energy you can get. It's intermittent because if it's not windy, you don't even get it. But to put up those things means you lose millions of dollars.
But here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like windmills and these solar panels don't have potential. They do. But the way it's being done right now is a complete scam. All it does is enrich yes. All it does is enrich China, and it honestly is a kind of a matter of national security. It kind of kills our national security because what did China get caught doing maybe like 6 months ago? Putting switchers in our solar panels. And here's the thing: we don't make these solar panels. We don't make these windmills. They're all made in China. So is this green initiative really for America, or is it for China? That's what I want to know. Because honestly, I feel like we can make these more efficient, and we can just wane ourselves off China. Then I'll trust this whole green energy initiative. Maybe then. Until then, I think we should just stick with what makes us the most money.
Every time you put up a windmill, you lose millions of dollars because they don't make money. They lose money. You're supposed to make money with energy. Do you have an asset?
Yeah.
If they would open up the North Sea again, you could open it up in split seconds. Every oil company would want it. Look at Norway as an example. Norway is a very rich country. They have the North Sea too. They say you have the best part of it. Who knows? But Norway's immensely wealthy because of the North Sea, same North Sea as you have. Why don't they do something? Why don't they supply your country?
Because they're going
your
green.
Energy costs are among the highest in the world. It's crazy.
It's got to be because.
Yep, because they're going green. And like I said, this whole green energy initiative is subsidized on the back of the Europeans. And I mean, some of our states kind of do it too, but is like throughout Europe is kind of flawlessly done. And sometimes these people don't even know that they're subsidizing it. Well, if you're watching in Europe, you know now.
There is this assumption that the climate is warming up because of man and that we have to have more renewables. And renewables in principle sound like a great idea. Use the sea and the
Beautiful
wind.
words, a disaster. And, when they talk about the climate, the whole thing is a hoax. They used to say it was started by other countries to cause problems. And they used to call it global warming, but that didn't work because it started getting colder. They even called it many years ago global cooling, but those things don't work. So now they call it climate change because with climate change, you can't lose. The whole thing is a hoax. And your country, among others, but your country is one of the worst. You talk about UK, it's one of the worst in the world. They believe this nonsense, this fiction. As an example, China, very smart. They sell.
Oh boy, China definitely don't believe in climate change, but they'll sell it to everybody else. That's the funniest part about China. Like, you think China gives a F about their environment? No, or they wouldn't be the top producers of rare earth minerals. They would actually spread it out amongst other countries because it's so taxing on the environment. Like, bro, you think when they make these solar panels and windmills for us, you think they do it in the most climate friendly way, the most environmentally friendly way? Of course they don't. So it's like they sell it to us to sell us their products. But like I said, is this really for America? Is this really like to help Europeans and Americans, or just about enriching China? Because it's starting to seem like this whole climate change initiative is about helping China.
Oh, the windmills, almost all of them. It used to be Germany and China. Now it's mostly China. And yet, if you go around China, you see almost no wind farms. So they make the windmills and they sell it to the suckers, the stupid people. but they don't have them themselves. They use oil and gas, they use coal, but they don't use the wind.
But I think it takes real backbone as a country's leader to stand up in a room like you did in New York with the UN, which was, for me, it was one of the greatest moments. I could watch
Without
that speech.
a teleprompter.
I loved it. It was
They
brilliant.
took away my teleprompter purposely.
It was a joy to watch because you dropped so many truth bombs on that room of globalists.
No, and I mean, shout out Cap Hunter. He brought up, like, you know, one of the talking points of China has the biggest solar field in the world, but they're still one of the biggest producers, one of the biggest buyers of oil, though. I mean, like I said, if that solar field's working out so well for them, why are they still heavily dependent on oil? Makes you think.
I had no script.
It was just
Can you
brilliant.
imagine? The UN took away my teleprompter.
I know.
Just before I got up, I said, I'm being introduced. I say, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the United States of America, President Donald Trump. And I'm looking at him saying,
After the escalator had already broken as well on the way up.
The escalator stopped. And it didn't stop like, it stopped. Phew. And I had my wife in front of me. Fortunately, I just grabbed.
Yeah.
But it came to a sudden halt, like you heard the crash.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of the day. And then I got on there. And I'll tell you something that nobody knows. The speakers in the room were off. So the only people that heard me were people either listening to television, which is still your biggest audience, but we had 158 leaders in the room. And unless they were wearing the earphones, you couldn't hear a word that I said. In fact, I went out. I thought I gave a good speech considering the fact I had it was terrible.
I loved it because I thought you were relating in that moment to so many people watching at home, and particularly in Great Britain, who were agreeing with what you were saying about the destruction of Europe and the scam of net zero. And yet everybody in that room seemed...
Yeah, he came down to the United Nations pretty hard. He's like, bro, I was out here solving all these conflicts. What were you guys doing? Actually, now that I think about it, you guys seem to cause more conflicts than you actually solve. So he was kind of laying in on the UN for that. Of course, after being pissed off with the whole escalator and then his teleprompter not working. And after that, he just kind of laid in on them.
To disagree with you. Is it just that there's a lack of
No, the
leaders?
people in the room didn't disagree. The leaders didn't disagree, but they don't like bringing it up.
This is what I'm saying. Is this the problem, that nobody has the backbone to be the person to put their hand up and say, we know that you don't all believe in this, but you're all going along with it. But why? Why are they going along with it?
Well, in some cases, all right, some countries don't really have a choice. They have, they don't have oil.
Yeah.
The UK has one of the greatest fields anywhere in the world, and you don't use it. I was approached by the oilmen that used to be there, and it's
trying to go green.
It's hurt the towns in the surrounding areas.
Oh, God, let's not forget to double tap that screen like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support, guys.
It's hurt everything. But I was approached by the oilmen. They said, sir, can you help us? We have the greatest oil in the world, and they won't let us use it. They won't let us use. If you had some other country with that kind of, including China. Look, China doesn't have real energy. They have a lot of energy as people. They have a great energy, right? And they're great. But China doesn't have any oil. They have to go get it. And they used to get a lot of it from you. They don't do that anymore because you don't do it. Your whole economy would change, because oil is so much bigger than any other subject in terms of economic wealth and in terms of lifestyle and living.
Yeah, and underpinning the success of a country.
Well, you have beautiful, clean, really incredible oil and gas, and it's sitting there, and it saddens me. I have in Aberdeen, I have a tremendous project, and I own Turnberry too, and I own in Ireland, I own Doonbeg. So I have 3 very great projects. And I look and I say, the value that is being wasted in this country, it's so sad. I mean, and you can only say it so much, how much you're going to, it's not your country. You feel badly saying it. You're telling somebody else what they're doing. You're sitting there with one of the greatest oil fields in the world, and you're not using it. And when Exxon, when these big companies want to use it, they're rebuffed. They're told no. And you're putting up windmills all over. You're killing all the birds, by the way.
I mean, let's be honest. They're the biggest environmentalists to their own detriment. It is what it is. I mean, like I said, they're doing this for the environment. They don't want to do what was it? Deep sea drilling. They don't want to do that. They don't want to tap into their oil potential because they want to go green, Trump. Leave it up to them. If that's what they want to do and crash out over that, it is what it is. Now, let's be honest. If they were to go that route, it would help with oil prices globally.
They're ugly as hell. They make noise. They're very unsafe, and they produce every time that thing goes around, it loses money.
Yeah. You can't recycle them. It's landfill at the end of the day.
Remember this, after 10 years, you have to take them down and put new ones up because they only have a certain life.
Awful.
It's hard to believe.
Now, unfortunately, even though there are so many topics we could talk about, we have to tackle the issue of the BBC and this defamation case. Can I just ask you, how did you feel when you were first shown the footage or told about this edit, which the BBC say is unintentional to depict you in that way? But how do you feel about
unintentional? Is crazy because it's like it was obviously cut up to make it look like Trump said go out there and fight when he actually said go out there and peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard, all that good stuff. So no, it doesn't look like that was done accidentally. Actually, it was done purposefully to paint Trump as an insurrectionist all through Europe.
Do they say it's unintentional? Well, then they're stupid to say that. You know, they wrote me a letter of apology, as you know.
How was it?
But then it's fine. But what is it?
Yeah.
It's fine. They wrote me a nice letter. We apologize. But when you say it's unintentional, I guess if it's unintentional, you don't apologize, right? You know, I made a beautiful statement and they made it into a not beautiful statement. And now I hear just before this.
Hey, shout out to Redacted Reality for sending in the gifts. Appreciate the support, my man.
This interview, I was told, somebody said, so you were not going to believe it. BBC did it again. They found another place, I think at a totally different.
On Newsnight.
Yeah, totally different place. That they did it again. It's not even believable. You know, I just settled with 60 Minutes in I guess it's based in New York, CBS, because they had Kamala the night or 2 nights before the election. Her answer was so bad, it was election interfering. Okay, that's how bad it was. And they took her answer out and they gave her a totally different answer using her. At least they used her.
Yeah.
But they took it from 20 minutes or something later in the interview. In other words, they took some other answer to a totally different question. And it was still a lousy answer, but it wasn't election threatening, right?
Yeah.
And we just settled that case. But that's not as bad as...
Kamala's finally getting exposed for the word salad artist that she is. She doesn't really answer no questions. She completely pivots to just bashing Donald Trump. Trump. No matter what question you ask her, she'll make it about Trump somehow, some way. I mean, just master pivot, just masterly pivoting your question to bashing Trump. I mean, she got really good at it, to be quite honest with you. Like, not good at answering questions, but good at bashing Trump.
BBC did. BBC actually, I mean, as bad as that was, they took her, and her answer was terrible. It was long, horrible, stupid, so stupid. If anybody listening to it would have voted for Trump. Most of them did anyway, fortunately. But what happened is they threw it out. Just threw it out, and they took another one. They asked a question, they put a totally different answer. And through a series of weird events, just like the BBC was how we found out about it. One of their competitors reported it, how they found out about it. You got to give them credit. But in the 60 Minute thing, we found out because they advertised it in a commercial. And they used a little bit of that first answer. And then we found out, but that wasn't on the show. It was a totally different answer. We found out through talent and luck. But BBC, what they did is worse.
And if it wasn't for the Daily Telegraph in the UK shining a light on this story, and then other channels,
you got to hand it to them.
running with it. And
was that the Daily Telegraph?
It was the Daily Telegraph that initially did.
I assume they're enemies.
The expose.
They are now.
Of the BBC?
Yes.
Well, I think they're part of the establishment media in the UK, and they've been there for many years. They're very
they were incensed by it. Daily Telegraph.
They were angry, I think, on your behalf of that depiction. How easy was that decision to pursue legal action? You could have maybe picked up the phone to Prime Minister Starmer and just said, can you have a word with someone at the BBC? Or were you quite resolute that this is something?
I don't even know if the BBC is owned by, what percentage is owned, or if any is owned by your government. I don't know.
It's funded predominantly by the British taxpayer, so we have to pay.
Well, the British taxpayer has a big problem with it because it's strange.
And for somebody that's
been a big story over in your
talk about picking winners and losers.
Country.
A very big story.
It's a big story over here. It's the biggest story.
But we were doing that for what was it, PBS and NPR. I mean, that was taxpayer funded.
Over here.
Yeah, the Director General has resigned. The head of news has resigned over this. You've had the letter from the chair of the BBC apologising. But how far are you prepared to push it? Because you've invented the phrase fake news. You invented that more than 10 years ago, probably now.
It's fake news.
Fake news. So did this feel like a smoking gun when for years you've been frustrated with the depiction of you that isn't accurate?
I think I've proven fake news because they used to have high approval ratings than me.
Oh, and shout out her other Dan for the 250 jewels. She sent a laughing disco. Appreciate the support. Her other Dan.
Media now they have the lowest. I think they're lower than Congress, which is pretty good. So now fake news was a great term, except it's not strong enough. I'd like it to be stronger. The word fake is one thing, but this is beyond fake. This is corrupt, what they did. So no, the lawyers walked in and said, sir, you're not going to believe this. And they showed, I didn't hear about it. My lawyers walked in and they just said, the White House lawyers, they're government lawyers, actually. And they walked in and they said, sir, you're not going to believe this. I said, what is it? And they show me the one and then they show me the other. And it's not even close. It's different words. It looks like it's actually the same mouth movement. Who would be able to even find this? Somebody did an amazing job to be able to, but it's a totally different meaning and totally different words. So.
And as somebody that understands television, I always think when I watch you, I think you have certain different hats you put on. You've got your TV guy, you've got your property developer guy,
a lot of hats,
talking about the ballroom, which I think is brilliant. And then you've got your father hat on.
Well, guys, let's not forget to double tap the screen. We got over 700 y'all in here. Appreciate the support, by the way. But let's go ahead and double tap that screen and like the video. Let's get more people in here by double tapping that screen. All right, let's go.
Where you've got this amazing family. But in this instance, are you looking at it through your sort of telly guy eyes as well and thinking, if you'd worked on a show where they'd edited something together like that, it just wouldn't get past the editorial process?
Well, I did say that. That was my first thing. I said, who would do this? I've never heard of this one before. You worry about AI because things like this can happen, with their different geniuses. I mean, you can do things. I've seen things that are incredible, but you can't imagine.
I've seen some incredible things too, like very incredible things. Like, well, let's see, AI ICE police arrests that are used to pretty much stoke, social outrage about ICE, pretty much making it seem like ICE is just separating families and tearing children out of a mother's arms, and they're not, but it is AI generated. It does make ICE look pretty bad. And I would ask you guys, when you're looking at that ICE video and they're making them look like the worst type of people, run it through AI first, because you might be getting tricked.
That BBC did this somewhat.
I mean, come on, Dems. We all know people like to play on y'all emotions.
Crudely, actually.
Yeah.
It was done sort of crudely.
They'd clipped together, hadn't they, two parts of the speech that were nearly an hour apart.
It's incredible.
To depict the idea that you had given this.
Hey, shout out to the Cap Hunter. He says daily troll fee. Hey, I appreciate Cap Hunter. Like I said, we may not agree all the time, but hey, he'd be cool.
This aggressive speech which led to this riot.
And one making you into a bad guy, and the other one was, my statement was a very calming statement. It's pretty incredible. I mean, I couldn't believe it, actually. I've never seen it. I've been doing this for a long time. I've never seen anything like that. That's the most egregious. I think that was worse than the Kamala thing with CBS and 60 Minutes.
How far will you push it? Because they haven't offered, our understanding is they've offered no money whatsoever. They've apologized in a letter, but they haven't offered you a penny in compensation. There was this figure of $1 billion that you may be pursuing.
I think I have an obligation to do it. Look, I'm not looking to get into lawsuits, but I think I have an obligation to do it. This was so egregious. if you don't do it, you don't stop it from happening again with other people. I think you probably have an obligation. I'd like to find out why they did it. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Who thinks like this? And I wonder if they've done it. We'll find this out. The nice part about litigation is we'll find out how many times have they done it to other people. Maybe they did it to me quite a bit. Because I've gotten a lot of publicity over there before. I was getting in Aberdeen, which is such a great place. I went through, years of permitting and everything else to build 2 great golf courses. And I did it really as almost art more than anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it for the art. I'm lucky I can do that, right? But it's beautiful. And owning Turnberry and having the great Turnberry, which is so beautiful. And so I know your country so well. And the fact that my mother was a great fan of the Queen. Anytime the Queen was on, she said, "Excuse me, don't talk. We have to listen to the Queen." And she loved the Queen and the royal family. And, we were honored just recently by King Charles and the family, the royal family. And they couldn't be nicer. It was great. That was an amazing few days.
The state visit was beautiful. I've never seen anything like
beautiful.
It was incredible.
The whole thing was, it couldn't have been more beautiful. That room with the long table. Right?
It was amazing.
I've never seen a room. I got to build one of them someday.
Talking of Scotland, for instance, they...
No, don't do that now, Trump, man. You see the Dems and how they're tripping about a ballroom. Just a ballroom, and they're crying about, oh, I see rubble, and my heart is just tearing apart. It's like, oh, my God. So, trust me. I mean, you can't really build anything else, Trump, because you're going to cause these guys to have a fallout moment. Again, over a ballroom.
Average age, life expectancy in the east end of Glasgow now is 57 for men.
Wow.
It's lower than some sub-Saharan African countries, but there's a drug problem, an alcohol problem, a health problem. And
well, you think it'll be the opposite. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
The air is so good. The air is so clean. Everything is so good.
But if you were parachuted into Scotland tomorrow to save your ancestral homeland, what would you do? Where would you start?
Well, it's so amazing that when you tell me this, because you would think that you would live forever because it's so beautiful. Now, it becomes less beautiful because of the windmills. It really does. But you would think that they'd have, now, at the same time, they have a hard life economically.
Yeah.
There's not great economics there. Sean Connery was sort of a friend of mine, and he was a great guy. And I used to sometimes call him the king because he was ill. But I spent years getting zoning in Aberdeen in particular. Turnberry was different because it was built and we've made it incredible, more incredible than it even was. And it's unique. But with Aberdeen, you were starting right from the beginning. And
Sean Connery, of all people, though, is hilarious. Like Sean Connery, I mean, the guy that was pretty much saying, he'll slap a girl that, talk back too much. I don't know, Trump. I might not have been the best friend to call out there, but hey, I mean, you've had worse friends, obviously. Obviously, he's had way worse friends.
I was having a hard time getting the zoning, and it wasn't like my real business. It was a piece of art, the most beautiful dunes, I think, in the world. And I was into it for maybe 3 or 4 years. And Sean Connery,
he said, for the broke trolls in the chat, let's have a talk for the douchebags whose moms give blowjabs for 2 pesos. You don't want this smoke? Tired of winning yet? I mean, shoot. Well, I ain't tired of winning. Damn. All right. Have a toad for the douchebag whose moms give blowjobs for 2 pesos. Well, I mean, damn, Castro. I mean, who pissed Castro off?
Connery was in Scotland, and he said, let the bloody bloke build his bloody golf courses. He's an American. He wants to invest money in Scotland, he said. In Scotland, let him build his bloody golf courses. Do you know that after he did that, I got my approvals in like 2 minutes.
And you've just won a record for having the best golf course in the world, I believe.
It just was rated one of the best golf courses in the world. But think of Sean Connery, no longer with us.
Yeah.
But he said, let him build his bloody golf. In other words, I'm investing money in Scotland.
Yeah.
And he was right. But he was so respected.
Yeah.
everything. It was crazy. I said, "You're the greatest zoning lawyer in the world. My zoning lawyers can't do anything, but you just make one statement." He was great. He was a great character,
Yeah.
too. He was a great actor.
It's one of the things I've noticed about being here is this sense of patriotism, which you've revived, this period of renewal. You've even got record numbers of people signing up for the armed forces.
That's right.
They love this country so much, they're volunteering to prepare to die for America. That's what any leader of a country would want.
Yeah.
In the UK, we've got a resurgence at the moment with people putting Union Jacks and St George's flags around on motorway bridges outside houses, and then councillors are taking them down. And it's become a bit of a battleground because we've got this timidity about who is the British people? Who are we? What does it mean to be British? And so how would you define American patriotism, and what can we learn?
Well, the thing I'm most proud of is that 2 years ago, we couldn't get people to join the military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard.
I mean, you gotta actually like make people believe that your country's going in the right direction, and that's gonna have people be more patriotic. And here's the problem: well, the government of UK has put immigrants over their people. They put gays over their people. I mean, they put the entire woke ideology over their own people. And let's be real, that kind of disheartens them. And now they don't even really want to try for their own country. They really don't even care about their own country no more because, well, does their country care about them? I mean, most likely not. Look how they treat them.
Space Force, that was mine. We started the Space Force, so I have a pride in it. But you couldn't get anybody to join. Even the police, you couldn't get them to go into the police. You couldn't get them into the fire departments. We have a lot of people, right? And 350. Of course, we never know because they allowed so many in. You know, it's so horrible, but I stopped it. You know, we have the strongest borders anywhere in the world right now. And we had the weakest borders in the world a year ago. So I think that one of the things I'm most proud about today, to get into the military is hard. It's like getting into the best college because everybody wants to be in the military. Yeah. That took place 1 year. Think of it. 1 year ago, you couldn't get them. And now it's like resurgent. Maybe we'll open up our military and let more people in. But today it's considered a prestigious job, a wonderful job. Everybody wants to be. You heard the story. We had the best recruitment numbers in the history of our country. And a year ago, we had the worst.
Yeah.
So it can take place fast. But they're proud of the country. I mean, I talk about the country. We have the strongest military in the world. We make the best military equipment. And by the way, we sell a lot to you. And we have a great relationship with your country. But I want your country to do really well. I want your country to do better.
I know. There is a sense that we are struggling with our identity, who we are. Are we the kind of country that looks to the government to give people a handout if they haven't got a job? Are we encouraging people to go back to work?
Your energy costs are among the highest in the world.
Yeah.
And yet you're sitting there with the greatest energy field in the world, one of the top 3 or 4. And you should have the lowest energy, not the highest energy.
How have you done that on the border? Because we watch in the UK, repeatedly illegal migration comes up at the top of people's concerns in Great Britain. And it's not that we're not a generous country, and we've always taken refugees.
I know you feel badly about it, but you have no choice. You have a country to run.
I mean, yeah, you can't be too generous. Like, I get that. Oh, well, they're coming from a bad situation and all that good stuff. Yeah. Well, help them out in their country and just don't let them into ours. We're never going to help these guys. Honestly, let's be real. Immigration is just flawed altogether. Bringing these people in because they come from a developing country or a country that's going through like war times is not it. Let's help them out where they're at. So there's no need for mass migration or migration whatsoever. They'll feel oh so comfortable just staying in their country. And that's what we want for them. So guess what? They stay there and they don't come here. And it's not like we don't want them here. You can come for vacation and all that good stuff. But come here because you're escaping the harsh reality of your country. Yeah, I don't think that's going to help. I don't think letting them in is going to help that. Like, let's be honest. And let's talk about the UK. Y'all and all these Pakistanis, right? Has Pakistan got any better for them? No. So I don't know. Do you maybe need to talk to Pakistan and wondering, wait, why are so many people leaving there? So, they stop leaving there, stop rushing into these European countries, African countries as well. That's also doing the same. So I ain't going to leave them out. Like, come on now.
no one has any money. And so when you have people have paid into the system, the elderly have paid into the system all their lives, and they're on a waiting list to get a new knee for a year, and yet they see people arriving illegally, being given accommodation, food,
You have to take them out. You have to take them back immediately. Don't forget, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, we were having millions of people pour through our borders. You know what we have now for the last 6 months?
Yeah.
Zero.
It's incredible.
Zero. So we were very tough at the border. We would take people immediately back, and I had the military as a backup. Because you've seen this thing where they're trying to break down the fences and everything else. And we don't play games with our military. And we won a Supreme Court that was a Supreme Court case where things are based on merit. That means the military too. And a military has to be a certain type. We can all be politically correct and say, everybody should be in the military. Everybody should. Well, you have people that are born for things and people that aren't, okay? And that means good and bad. We have an amazing military now. We have people that look like they're supposed to be.
I mean, if you want to keep a competitive military, should we let women on the front line? Should we let women wow, I can't believe I can't say infiltratory roles. But yeah, should we let women do that? I mean, does China let them do that? Does Russia let them do that? Most likely not, because it'll be a pretty gruesome scene out there in Ukraine if they're putting women on the front lines. Like, let's be real. So yeah, we would have a competitive military. I mean, should we not follow what all the other militaries are doing? Not completely, but in terms of, who they allowed to serve in certain positions. Just saying.
Soldiers, and they don't play games.
Sounding sexist.
That's how DC is so strong now. We had thugs, we had gangs, and we had people that were afraid to go and talk to them. Now you have guys that don't even do the talking. They just walk in. It's like unbelievable.
So do you think we should?
And we throw them out. We bring them out. They throw them out. They bring them back to Venezuela. They bring them back to different countries where they came from. And they're told never to come back.
Do you think we could probably do something similar, which is to put the military
identical
on the coast?
Identical. And you have an advantage because actually, you have so much sea.
Yeah.
Because sea is sort of a protector. Now, sometimes they come in by boat, but it's a protection. You could do the same thing. Biden, Sleepy Joe Biden, one of the worst, definitely the worst president in the history of our country, but a man who didn't do a good job in any way. But, he said, I can't stop the people from coming in because I need an act of Congress. And I can't get it. He said, you don't need an act of Congress. All you have to do is say, nobody comes into, I didn't get an act of Congress. So I had a very safe border the first time, the first 4 years, but now I have a really safe border. But I didn't have to go to Congress to do that. You're the president. It's a very strong presidency. And you say,
while the Dems are over here crying about a border bill, well, Trump just had to uphold current immigration policies, and he was able to shut down the border. So he did kind of make the Dems look dumb while these guys are over here crying about a border bill that they couldn't get passed. He just implemented current law and got the border shut down. Or at least pretty much reduce it by 99%. I guess there's still some people crossing, well, barely.
Stop the people from coming in. And they listen to me, and nobody comes in. I mean, literally nobody, other than if they come in legally. We have a good process for coming in. You have to learn. You have to show that you can love the country. Biden was just a terrible president. What he did with inflation, what he did with other things was that we had the highest inflation in the history of the country. Now we have almost no inflation. But what he did with allowing millions of people to come in. Now, the difference is I'm moving them out. I'm getting them out. And we're doing with the worst ones first. We had 11,888 murderers. Think of that. 11,888 murderers. Largely, for the most part, they're gone.
Yeah.
And some of them murdered more than one person, and they're gone. You have the same exact thing. You have people coming in from parts of the world. You better do, this interview is good for one thing. You better do something about immigration because it's more important than inflation. Inflation you can solve. But when you have people coming into your country and they're bad people, the wrong people, it doesn't work and it's not working. If
I
you
mean,
don't,
yeah, when you bring in people who refuse to assimilate, it never works. I mean, and that's just the reality of what's happening in the UK and somewhat of what's happening in America. The problem with the UK is they're more overt about it. I mean, way more overt about it. I mean, they are damn near taking up whole cities at this point. And let's be real, we got the same thing in the United States, but we're a bigger country. So they take a city here and it's bad, but it's like, okay. Now they take a city in the UK. I mean, goddamn, like, how bad did y'all let it get?
get them out, you're not going to have a country left.
When you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like we all do,
Yeah.
what do you worry about? What keeps you awake at night when you? I mean, I don't think you sleep for a start because I've seen your schedule and you don't really bother with
we have plenty
sleep.
of time to sleep later on.
Yeah,
lots of time. We have infinity. But no, I think that, I had an expression when I first ran, "Make America Great Again," right? Very simple expression. I think in political history, it's the best ever used, maybe beyond the United States.
Yeah.
Maybe I think about that. I just want to make America great again. It's like, I don't want to be politically correct. I don't want to be, I'm sort of conservative, I guess, but that's because policies tend to be like conservative. You want strong borders, you want good education, you want a powerful military.
And shout out to my man Jay. He says immigration without assimilation is just invasion. I mean, hey, that's a great way to say it. I'll give you that one. Shout out to my man Jed. Appreciate the support, my brother. And yeah, he's not wrong. Like, when these guys come over here, and let's be real, we're not saying that these Muslims come over here and they go outright Christian, but they do got to get down with, well, this Christian culture that Europe has, or secular culture, or however they feel their culture is. The Muslims got to assimilate to it. And I do believe that is up to that country to kind of turn their hand a little bit to do so. Kind of, I don't know, have programs to implement it, make sure they're going through the proper channels to actually know what it is to be a UK citizen, just like we should. This way we do the same. We do the same here. I know people like to go through the illegal way, but yes, there's a legal way that you go through. You learn about the country. We make you a patriot just going through the class. And then you get your green card, you're on your way. I mean, y'all can do that too, but y'all got to find a way to make these people want to assimilate. And I'm not talking about strap their ass to a seat and make them watch the most patriotic videos of, I don't know, of UK success. Like, I'm not saying that, but you do got to find a way to make it happen.
You want, different things.
yeah.
But the expression really says it all. Make America great again. You should have the same expression in your country. Make the UK great again. You have so many terms. You have England, you have Britain, you have the UK, but whatever you want to use, you want to make it great again.
But we're not alone in Europe. That leaders of European countries, and particularly the UK, are incredibly squeamish about the suggestion that their people are more important than people coming from other countries. Why?
Well, you don't have that in look, in the case of Hungary, you have a man named Viktor Orban, who the other leaders hate, but who does a fabulous job. You know how many people he's allowed into his country? Zero. And he's got no problems. He has taken some Ukrainians, from the war, but basically zero. The Ukrainians, they blend in. He's allowed nobody to come in. You had a couple of Poland, I think, has done a very good job.
Similar.
Poland's been great. And the man who won the election, who's fantastic, was not expected to even come to.
Yeah, like places like Hungary and Poland, who pretty much resisted the EU and the UN's like urging them to take in immigrants, like resisted the urge. And they actually, well, not the urge, but the demand. And here's the problem, though. A lot of the European countries got mad at them because they accepted immigrants, but it just wasn't the immigrants that, they wanted them to accept. They wanted them to accept the Muslims, but they went ahead and accepted the Christian Ukrainians coming into Poland and Hungary. And they said, we'll take those. We'll take the white Christians, but you guys can keep the Muslims. And you can't blame them for doing it. That's all I got to say. And guess what? It happened to work out for them.
Close. It was one of many people running. And through a friend of
man, when prejudice works out, it's crazy, huh?
His and a friend of mine, a mutual friend, I endorsed him and he won the election.
Yeah.
So it was pretty big upset, but he's fantastic. He's going to be a great president. But Poland doesn't take people in. There are some countries that just refuse to do it.
Yeah, we're not one of them.
No, you are not one of them.
We are not. You've had a phenomenal success with solving conflicts and the peace president is one of the names I know that you hear quite a lot. Russia-Ukraine remains intractable and irritating for you, I imagine.
It is.
Well, guys, we got over 500 y'all in here, man. Do me a favor and double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support, guys.
What might be the key leverage left with Putin?
So I settled 8 wars, and I have 1 to go. And, last week they say during the last month, actually, 25,000 soldiers were killed between the two countries. Fairly evenly split. Think of it. 25,000 young, now they're getting older, by the way, I must tell you, but young soldiers were killed. It would have never happened if I were president. I thought I have a very good relationship with President Putin. I thought that was going to be my an easier one.
Yeah.
Because I solved some of the wars were going, in one case, 32 years, in one case, 36 years. And I got them settled in like 2 days. I'm very proud of that. I just had one where today, I think I settled one today, another one. But we just about exhausted the supply of wars. I didn't know there were so many wars, if you look at it. But even if you look at India and Pakistan, nuclear nations, and they were going at it. They were really going at it. 8 planes were shot down. They were really, and who knows what happens with the powerful nuclear weapons. And I said, look, if you're going to go and fight, I'm not going to make any trade deals with you guys. And I put tariffs and did all sorts of things. And within 4
And that's the difference, because all these other countries that Trump was able to end conflicts in, they kind of needed us for economic support, or they were trying to find a way to get in a trade deal with us. And tariffs would definitely kill any economic power that they would have to kind of do their war. So doing that to Russia, it's kind of impossible. We already have sanctions on them, so they already found a way to work around the American dollar. I mean, they're already buying oil in Chinese yuan. So trying to pull economic levers on them, I mean, we've only have so many left. Like, they've already taken everything. And then what we're doing right now is trying to get India to back out of buying oil. We're trying to get China to back out of oil, and they're doing so. And that's still not breaking the camel's back. So honestly, we're over here trying to destroy Russia's economy, and we're throwing everything at them. But hey, we'll see how that goes, because we can't beat them we can't beat them through proxy on the battlefield, obviously. So let's see if we can destroy the economy, and that is what the Trump administration is trying to do right now. Well, the U.S. and NATO, that's the current objective right now.
8 hours, I got that taken care of. They're good, and that's a big thing. But I did that 8 times. The one I haven't done yet is Russia and Ukraine. It should have never started. It's a bloodbath. It is a terrible bloodbath. There are so many soldiers. Not since the Second World War has anything been like that. It's going to happen. I hope it's going to happen soon. We're putting a lot of pressure on them, with India and the oil, and India is now pulling out, and others are pulling out, because as Russia sells oil, they have money to do things.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to get it done, but it's a shame.
Yeah. If I can just bring you back to the BBC, where do you see this going now, President Trump? Do you see this being a long, legal, protracted conflict with the BBC? Would you like to see it
tied up quickly? Well, they've admitted their guilt, but they don't have to admit their guilt. It's on tape. There's nothing to admit. No, I think very shortly we'll have a statutory period. We've notified them by writing, and I think you have to wait a week. And so that time's coming up. And after that time comes up, we'll sue them. My lawyers say for $1 billion or more. And we'll see how it all works out. But I can't imagine they could do very well in that lawsuit. What they've done is incredible. I sort of have an obligation, not that I want to do it, I have an obligation to do it. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I've understood. And nobody understands the press, because I'm the one that explained to people it's fake news. But and I hate when people say, "Oh, I understand the press," because they're fools. Because nobody really understands. The press doesn't understand itself. But I will say, I think I have an obligation to bring a major lawsuit against the BBC, because what they did is impossible to believe. You would have never even thought that. Even the Kamala thing, to a certain extent, was so bad, but you could see how it could happen.
Yeah. And it's the idea, I suppose, that you're doing it not just for you, because your feeling is, well, if they could misrepresent me in that way, they could misrepresent anybody in that way.
Well, they can be doing it. And one of the things we'll find.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, BBC was doing this in, well, the UK, a whole nother country to where we didn't even know about it. And they did this a while ago. They did this like during the insurrection, like 4 years ago. Well, sorry, not insurrection, but the January 6th riot that got spun. Well, the January 6th protest that got spun into, well, that turned into a riot that got spun into an insurrection by, well, mainstream media. So that's my stance on January 6th. But yeah, they pretty much released that video. Everybody in the UK thinks Trump invoked an insurrection when that was far from the truth. So the fact that they were all the way over there in the UK getting fed a completely different message than what we were getting fed right here is, well, I mean, honestly, it happens all the time. But to this degree is absolutely insane. And Trump does need to take action against him. I mean, we need to teach lessons out here. You can't do this and get away with it. You can issue an apology, but that doesn't mean you're not going to do it again. No, it ensures you're not going to do it again. Consequences.
Out during this litigation through depositions and everything is how many other times have they done it to your prime minister? Have they done it to Nigel? Have they done it to, you know, the people that are in your country? The answer is probably yes, but we'll be finding out a lot of things over the next few months. And one of the things, you know, your litigation moves a little bit quickly in your country. So I think it's going to go fairly quickly, although I don't know that we bring it there. We probably bring it someplace in the U.S. from our standpoint.
And you've had success with suing media companies before,
Yeah,
on behalf
I've
of
had a
you and
lot of
also Melania
success.
as well.
Yeah, that's true. And Melania's had success. No, we've had a lot of success because it's fake news. But I've never had anything so fake as the BBC.
Yeah. You're obviously a really good dad. Your children really like you, which is obvious. And
Or love.
Oh, love you, but everybody loves their parents, but they don't all like their parents.
That's true.
When they're adults, and they clearly have so much respect and warmth towards you. And I often think, watching you, that actually being a good president is a bit like being a good father.
Yeah.
Tough love, clear boundaries, in the interests of the people that you're looking after. Does it ever occur to you how much the role is like being a father, being a president?
I've never thought of it that way. I can't believe I'm getting a question I've never thought of or never been asked before. If you think about it, I love this country. I love the people of the country. But people do say, what do you recommend for growing your children? And I've seen so many children. I've seen so many brilliant children of brilliant people go bad and become tremendous failures. And I find that so much of it's caused by drugs, alcohol, you know, different substances. And I always would say to my kids, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. I'd say no cigarettes too. You know, it's not of the same, but it's, if you can avoid it, because if you don't start it, you don't have a longing. I mean, I have friends that long to have a cigarette. Yeah. They quit smoking, but they long, and they see somebody with a cigarette, it's like they're caged lunatics, okay?
I'm weak.
But even more so with drugs and alcohol. And I would always tell my kids no drugs, because no drugs or alcohol. I said, over the years, I've seen really smart parents have really brilliant kids, and the kids are a disaster because they got hooked in drugs. And when you're hooked, it's hard to get off. And if you never start them, like I've never had a drink in my life, and I don't take drugs. Yeah. I have no longing, but people that do, the drugs they don't talk about as much, but when they see, when you have a person that suffered with the alcohol curse, and they're out to dinner and they see, you know, some of your wonderful whiskey or whatever. Yeah. When they see that coming down the plank, they say, oh man, does that look good? If you never start, it's so easy. No, I have other problems.
I mean, you know, love him or hate the man. I mean, you gotta be honest. No drugs, no alcohol is a pretty solid message. Love him or hate him. All right, now let's get over to the the meeting that he had with the Saudi king and them answering questions from the press. Let's see how this goes.
AI, we're doing,
because I heard it got pretty heated when, you know, they asked them about, well, their involvement in 9/11. I was like, oh, I didn't think we were doing that. Or, well, also the 9/11 family is also pretty angry about this because there was Saudi involvement. as well as Israeli involvement. But we won't get into all that right now.
But on AI, we're doing well. And I have a man, David Rommel.
Yes, sir.
David, could you say a few words about what you're seeing on the job front and all of the some of the assets, and also how we've been helped by the Saudis in terms of the kind of investment they've made, please?
Yeah, most certainly. Thank you for the opportunity. I am a facility leader for GE Vernova. And if you look at the landscape for GE Vernova investment, over $750 million in the U.S. focused on true manufacturing jobs here stateside. We're looking at tripling the output of our Greenville, South Carolina facility, where we make the gas turbines that are supporting U.S. needs as well as the Saudi Arabia needs. So real jobs, $300 million in gas investment, resulting in over 500 pieces of new equipment being installed in the Greenville, South Carolina facility. That translates into roughly 1,800 jobs across the board for GE Vernova as we try to scale capacity to be able to meet this demand. Along with that, we're partnering with local communities to build the skill set that's required to meet these capacity needs. So that talent pipeline is incredibly important. So it's real jobs in the manufacturing space.
Well, you've been great, and thank you very much. And we love that state. I won that state by record numbers. I won a lot of states by record. Texas, a lot of them by Indiana. We're working with Indiana or something right now. We won that. We won a lot of them by records, but that was one of them. I want to thank you very much. Say hello to everybody. Great job. You're doing a great job. Thank you. So just in wrapping up, we'll take a couple of questions, but I want to just tell you what an honor it is to be your friend. And I very much appreciate the investment of now $1 trillion, okay? And so I'm glad you got that out. I didn't want to be the one to tell them, but that's great news.
Keep increasing, Mr. President.
I know.
Each time the opportunities are just increasing more and more.
Well, the opportunities, right? We're doing better. If even if you look back 6 months ago, I mean, now all of a sudden you feel even better. So, and I think we're only going to go in one way.
Yeah, when it comes to Saudi Arabia, we're tied in pretty deep with them. Like, let's be quite honest. I mean, they actually helped us establish the petrodollar. So yeah, we're pretty tied in with the Saudis, and honestly, we're kind of one of the main reasons they're so rich. But hey, it is what it is.
Does anybody have any questions?
Mr. President, have you approved the export licenses for advanced chips to Saudi Arabia? The export licenses?
We are working on that. We're negotiating that right now. Marco, do you want to talk about that, or Scott?
Well, I mean, that's part of we'll may have announcements on that later today, but that's what we've been working on is the mechanics by which something like that could be achieved. And it's part of the broader process, part of this broader engagement and cooperation between our two countries.
Certain levels of chips. Yeah.
For the Crown Prince, Royal Highness, you're talking about $1 trillion of investment. Could the kingdom continue to do that with oil prices in the mid-60s?
We are not creating a fake opportunities to, please America, please President Trump. It's real opportunities. For example, when you ask about the AI and the chips, Saudi Arabia have a huge demand a huge need of computing power, and we're gonna spend in the short term around $50 billion by consuming those semiconductors for our needs in Saudi Arabia. And with the agreement that we're gonna have with United States of America, that will allow us to focus that consuming power in the short term by $50 billion from the States of America, and long term with hundreds of $billions in the long term. So there's a lot of real opportunities that fit to our needs in Saudi Arabia and fit to our investment strategy.
Mr. President, is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated.
All right, so it does seem like Trump is using those next gen semiconductor chips as a bargaining tool. So since they're going to be being produced in America, he is kind of using them as a bargaining tool, one against China, and as a bargaining tool to entice these countries to work deeper with us when it comes to AI.
Brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Who?
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question. I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was.
Yeah, people are complaining that Trump is making money. And here's the thing. Well, Trump has so-called relinquished control of his companies and his holdings to his son Eric Trump. So if any success that's going on right now can be contributed to how he's handling things. Now, if you guys want to sit there and say that, oh no, Trump is actually working behind the scenes and all this good stuff, I mean, you can go ahead and have that, because you can't prove it, but you can go ahead and say it.
And that it ever.
And here's the thing: there might be some truth to it.
Could have been, no matter who was president, there would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion. That I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Just you ask, Mr. President, you allow me to answer.
Don't say that, Cap.
I feel painful about the families of 9/11 in America, but we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buying that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that strong relation between America and Saudi Arabia, it's bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism. And we have to approve him wrong and to build our relation, continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism. About the journalists, it's really painful to hear, anyone that been losing his life for, no real purpose or not in a legal way. And it's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. We've did all the right steps of investigation, etc. in Saudi Arabia, and we've improved our system to be sure that nothing happened like that. And it's painful and it's a huge mistake, and we are doing our best that this doesn't happen again.
Mr. President.
Oh yeah, they're talking about a death of a reporter, and I believe they sentenced this man to death. He's pretty much trying to create the excuse for it or why they did it. Like, look, we investigated it. It came up that he was doing some wild things, so we put him to death. Now, we do realize that we made some mistakes. Maybe we should have handled that a whole lot better. Most likely, this guy was catching on to things in the Saudi government or with the Saudi family, and he was probably most likely trying to release it, and they caught up to him and killed him. So that's most likely what happened. I mean, trust me, you try to mess with these guys as reporters, and you might end up dead. And the only way you can really get information on these guys is to go to Saudi Arabia. So you're pretty much going at your own risk. You're investigating these guys at your own risk. But shout out to the reporters who did so, because we do have a lot of dirt on the Saudi royal family. I mean, all types of things. I do not want to name because they are pretty disgusting.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Crown Prince has been instrumental in helping lifting the sanctions on Syria. Will there be any joint investment between the U.S. and Syria? And will you visit Damascus?
Are you from Syria?
No, but
Where are you from?
I'm from Palestine.
Oh, making a lot of progress, huh? Very good. Well, they like me. The Palestinians like me. The Palestinians are doing very well, actually. I think we're working very closely with a lot of people that make everybody happy, including Israel, the Palestinians, and everybody. That's very interesting. No, I think that I will tell you, the Crown Prince called me, and he specifically asked me if I would lift the sanctions on Syria, because he wants to see Syria make it. As you know, the leader of Syria was just here. We had a great meeting, and he's a strong guy, and I guess you need a strong person to run it. And I think Syria has made tremendous progress. We did lift the sanctions at the request of the Crown Prince. Also, the president of Turkey, Erdogan, called me specifically. He said, if you don't lift the sanctions, Syria doesn't have a chance. If you do, they have a very good chance. And between the two of them and some others, I lifted the sanctions. And the results so far have been pretty good.
And this is like the second controversial Middle Eastern leader or Muslim leader that's came to the White House. Of course, there was, I think it was al-Shir al-Bassad. I believe that's the ex-Al-Qaeda member that's now running Syria. Yeah, I know. I mean, we used to be fighting this guy, but now we're letting the man run Syria. So let's see how that works out. Well, I guess he's aligning with I guess he wants to get into the Abraham Accords, and he's recognizing Israel as a country, or Israel's right to exist. So hey, there's some improvement over there, and I believe that's one of the main reasons why we're trying to play nice with him now.
Can I ask you a question about the F-35s that are being sold to Saudi Arabia? Are these the same ones that are being used by the Israeli military? And if so, how does that allow for the qualitative military edge for Israel? And then I want to ask you, because you brought up the plight of the Palestinians, are you aware of relocation flights to South Africa that are taking place right now?
Yep.
There are relocation flights that are
there are relocation flights that are happening through secret funding channels through Israel that are putting Palestinians on flights, no passport, no nothing, no papers, and just sending them over to South Africa. Pretty much they're displacing the Palestinians and through just putting them on flights and sending them to South Africa and most likely other countries. We'll see what else comes out of that.
Taking place. Some Palestinians are being charged up to $2,000.
I'm not going to South Africa for the G20 because I think their policies on the extermination of people are unacceptable. So I'm not going. So I won't refer to anything having to do with South Africa. South Africa has behaved extremely badly. But I will say that when you look at the F-35 and you're asking me, is it the same? I think it's going to be pretty similar. Yeah.
How will that
This is a great ally, and Israel's a great ally. And I know they'd like you to get planes of reduced caliber. I don't think that makes you too happy. They've been a great ally. Israel's been a great ally. And we're looking at that exactly right now. But as far as I'm concerned, I think they are both at a level where they should get top of the line. Yes, please.
Can I just ask for the Crown Prince, if I could just ask about the direct talks between
That's all right. I'll see 1 second. Go ahead.
Have you reached an agreement on a U.S.-Saudi defense treaty today? And are you going to bring up the Abraham Accords in your discussion?
I already brought them up.
What did you say?
I think I got a positive response. Would you like to respond?
Yeah, so
put you on the spot.
yeah, so definitely we believe having a good relation with all the Eastern countries, it's a good thing, and we want to be part of the Ibrahim Accord, but we want also to be sure that we secure a clear path of two-state solution. And today we have a healthy discussion with Mr. President that we're going to work on that to be sure that we can prepare the right situation as soon as possible to have that.
I think we're, I don't want to use the word commitment, but we've had a very good talk on the Abraham Accords. We talked about one state, two state. We talked about a lot of things in a short period of time. We'll be discussing it further too. But I think you have a very good feeling toward the Abraham Accords.
Yes, definitely, Mr. President. We want peace for the Israelis. We want peace for the Palestinians. We want them to coexist peacefully in the region. And we will do our best to.
And I'll give it to the Muslim countries because, they're really trying to give Palestine a chance to self-governance and self-policing by pretty much saying, look, we'll go ahead and get down with the Gaza peace plan if it allows Palestine to get to a self-governing, self-policing stance. We'll also sign into the Abraham Accords if you also, touch on Palestine's problems. So I got to give it to the Middle East on that one. They found a way to kind of work in their agenda or their plight.
Nothing. And the defense agreement, have you reached agreement on that?
We pretty much have.
Question for the Crown Prince, if I could just finish.
We have reached agreement on that.
I wanted to ask you about the direct talks between the United States and Iran. Have you been fully briefed on that? And are you concerned at all about how this might impact Saudi security interests?
Well, we are close ally. We'll be working closely together on that issue, and we will do our best to help to reach a deal between the United States of America and Iran. And we believe it's good for Iran's future to have a good deal that will satisfies the region and the world and the rest of America. So we will do our best to see that they happen.
And by the way, Iran does want to make a deal. I can say I think they very badly want to make a deal. I am totally open to it. And we're talking to them and we start a process. But it would be a nice thing to have a deal with Iran. And we could have done it before the war, but that didn't work out. And something will happen there, I think. But they would very much like, I mean, they may say something else, but they would very much like to have a deal.
Do we have a timeline?
Yeah.
No, an Iranian, what was it? Iranian foreign minister came out and said, well, since the bombing of Fordow, they've stopped the production of, well, or they stopped enriching uranium. Now, do I believe that? Not really. But hey, it's what there is. That's the latest word out of Iran. I'm just telling you. You can look this up and you'll see that, yes, this guy said that they're going to stop enriching uranium. Now, if you want to believe that, that's up to you. Personally, though, I doubt it.
To sell 35 F-35 jets. You are planning, you said you are planning to sell the F-35 jets to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Is it part of the security agreement? And how you assess the defense partnership between Saudi Arabia and the United States? And the question for
Well, I just said it. I mean, we're going to sell them F-35s. That's the end of the question, I guess.
Is it part of the security agreement or no?
No, we're going to have a deal. They're going to purchase F-35s. They're buying them from Lockheed, and it's a great plane. We make, by the way, the best military equipment. You saw that during the Iran little skirmish. We make the best planes, the best missiles. We make the best offensive missiles. We make the best military equipment in the world.
Nice. For His Royal Highness, I would like to ask you about how you see the cooperation between the United States and Saudi Arabia in the advanced technological field, especially AI, and how it will support Saudi Arabia to serve its goal to achieve the vision of 2030.
Well, I will try to answer that in short, but definitely there's a lot of interest in many industries between Saudi Arabia and America, and we are signing a lot of agreements in different areas that would really add value to American economy, but also to add value to us in Saudi Arabia. And AI, it's critical for us because one of long-term problems that we could have is lack of workforce. As you've seen in the past few years, some of them have reached 30% of the global immigration to Saudi Arabia. So we know that to
shout out Ali Diopa for sending in the jewels, sending in the hundreds. Appreciate the support, my man.
Assure the Saudi Arabia GDP growing with the lack of workforce that we have, we need to use a lot of computing power to replace job in the long term. So that's huge demand in Saudi Arabia, and we want to link it to American private sectors and getting the supply from America. So there's a lot of opportunities in that area.
And we're also involved in AI.
You said we may not have a workforce, but one thing we do have is energy. And what does AI need? Energy. So, hey, he's actually bringing up a really good point. He's like, look, we may not got the manpower, but best believe we got all the oil in the world to make this run.
In Saudi Arabia. So we're working, and we're leading by a lot on AI. Actually a lot. China would be in second place, but we're leading by a lot. And I have to say this, and our relationship with China has been very good. And as far as buying our farm products, they're pretty much on schedule, Scott. I'd like you to call them, say if they could speed it up, it would be good. Okay, but they're pretty much on schedule.
Sorry, please. If I may, I have a question for both the Crown Prince and
Who are you?
Faisal Abbas from Arab News, Saudi Arabia, Your Excellency.
It should be a friendly question.
Your Royal Highness, just picking up on something you just mentioned about how some people try to destroy the relationship between Saudi Arabia and the United States. Perhaps, since the launch of the vision, we've been used to having the bigger picture and that everything fits into the bigger picture. Might you want to elaborate a little bit about where is the relationship, the bilateral relationship, the strategic partnership between Saudi Arabia and the United States heading, and what's the big picture there?
Well, I don't think it's a relation that we can replace it from the Saudi side or the American side. It's a critical relationship for our political attempt, for our economical attempt, for our security, for our military, for many things. And it has been there for 9 decades. And the opportunities that we have today, it's huge. And it seems that it's going to get deeper in the next few decades. And what we are having today and tomorrow with President Trump, it's really a huge new chapter on this relation that will add value to both of us.
When you think about it, I'm just sitting here. You're with the future king, a man who's respected by everybody, a man that doesn't have to be doing this, really. I don't have to be doing it either. And yet we're sitting here taking questions, we didn't say, oh, you can't talk about this. And there's never been transparency like this, even in his country, but there's never been in our country. That's been acknowledged, but
I mean, let's be real, Trump. I mean, The fact he said even in his country, I'm like, Trump, there's not too much transparency in like actually any Muslim country, to be quite honest with you.
We didn't put restrictions, and I'm saying it's
I mean, he is a king.
wonderful to be taking questions from all over the world. Everybody's here. This is just a small group representative of tremendous numbers of media that are outside that are very jealous that these people were so selected. But they're representing a lot of people that are outside. I think it's terrific that we can be sitting here being this open, and I think it's really a wonderful thing.
If you don't mind, I have a personal question for you.
Okay, here we go. I should have said that.
So apart from everything you mentioned in your opening remarks, you forgot to mention that you've de-escalated 7 wars since you started. At least in our part of the world, you are seen as a peacemaker. And adding that to all the executive orders and everything else you've mentioned, I really have to wonder, in your speech in Saudi Arabia, I was there, you said that His Royal Highness does not sleep at night thinking how...
I mean, yeah, let's be real. I mean, a lot of people, like, there's actually people in the chat who try to say, America's a laughing stock of the world. Yeah, you ask the people in Azerbaijan that when we brought them peace. You want to ask the people in Rwanda that, how they feel about us? I mean, come on now. You want to ask India? Okay, never mind. India don't feel too keen about us. Neither does Pakistan. But I know there are people like us. I know the people like the fact that we avoided war, but their government don't like us too much. But the people do. So yeah, when y'all want to sit here and try to shit on America, I mean, first off, please tell me what country you live in, and please tell me what your country did to make this world a better place. Because of course, America's done some shitty things, but at least we've brought peace to certain places or certain areas of the world. What has your country done? Not a damn thing, but sit there and complain.
Things better. We wonder in Saudi Arabia, how do you manage your own time, and what's your formula for managing?
He does not sleep much, and I don't sleep much. I think we have the same schedule. We're thinking about our countries, and if you sleep a lot and you're president, we just had one that slept more than any president. He broke every record. He sleeps all the time, during the day, during the night, on the beach.
In meetings.
The only guy could fall asleep on the beach with the press watching. No, he's not a sleeper. I'm not a sleeper. We talk at night. We can talk. I can call him almost any time. He goes, hi, how you doing? It's like the craziest times. But now, when you love your job, when you love your country, and when you're in a position like we are, future king, highly respected, crown prince, and in my case, president, you're thinking about your country. You're thinking about making America great again. We're thinking about keeping Saudi Arabia strong and vital and in a pretty tough part of the world, tricky part, right? Tricky part, a lot of tricky people. But he thinks about his country, and I think about my country. I don't want to sleep.
President Trump, do you expect a formal civil nuclear deal to be reached soon? Can you talk to us about that aspect
With
of
who?
with Saudi Arabia?
I can see that happening. Yeah.
Do you think that an agreement will happen today?
It's not urgent. It's always when you have civil nuclear, but you have more oil than almost anybody else. We actually have more oil and gas than they do, but I refuse to say that.
And
We have more than we have more than anybody. Can you imagine?
And on the F-35s, are those sales, Israel had reportedly wanted those sales to be conditioned on Saudi Arabia moving to normalized relations.
Israel will be happy. Israel is going to be
That a
happy.
condition of the F-35?
Israel's aware, and they're going to be very happy. Okay? Yeah, please. Hello.
Hi, hello. My name is Amal Hazani from Sharq al-Awsat newspaper, from Riyadh, of course.
We'll see about it.
I have a question for the Crown Prince and for you, Mr. President. Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, how much you expected from developing the cooperation with the United States in the field of new energy, AI, supply chain? How much you expected from that?
No limit. We just continue pushing forward. There's no limit. So we just push forward for all the opportunities that we have.
You have to understand, this is really a great ally. Just the fact that they're now doing, I came in here at 6, I did not know that. I was pushing for the 1 trillion, but he didn't tell me that. Now he told me. This is a great ally of ours. You know, when you invest $1 trillion, that's national security for us too, because it creates jobs, it creates a lot of things. And I would say, Scott, right? When you hear one country is putting $1 trillion into the United States, that creates national security. And, I think that they don't have to say that, but I think a big part of that is also the fact that tariffs are in play. But even beyond tariffs, that's a real ally that will do that, creates a lot of power for the United States.
We are also in Saudi Arabia very happy for this much of Saudi money is functioned here, and of course it's come back for us for benefits. So it's complementary interest. So this is the I think what's different the friends and ally do.
Well, look, I love the country of Saudi Arabia. I know the people very well. The level of treatment that we go when we go to Saudi Arabia is something that is incredible. And the people like us, and I think they really like America, especially when I'm president. I don't think they liked America so much maybe for 4 years recently. I think Obama treated Saudi Arabia very, very badly, as you know. And I think Biden didn't have any idea where the hell he was. I don't think Biden knew the difference.
How would you describe the future relationship with Saudi Arabia? I mean, from the strategic aspects, how would you describe that?
The relationship is with
financially driven.
It's as good as it can.
Top of the line and financially driven solely.
It can get much better. We have a country that trusts us, and that's why they make that investment. If they didn't trust us, they couldn't make that investment. And we trust them. They've been very reliable. Now I rebuilt our military in my first term, and we spent trillions of dollars, and we gave away some of it in Afghanistan stupidly because we had stupid people running our country. But we gave away, but that's as much as it was. It's a tiny fraction of what we put here. And we're bringing our military to a new level, the highest level ever. We have those plans to go now. And again, it's all American jobs and everything. So it's good for a lot of reasons. But as far as Saudi is concerned, no, I don't think our relationship could be better. I don't think they had a great relationship under Biden, and I don't think they had a great relationship under Obama. But they have a great relationship under Trump. When we did the presidential walk of fame, you saw that, right? And we're walking, and I asked the Crown Prince, so outside of Trump, because I blow everyone away, who was the best president for Saudi Arabia? And you could maybe, it's an interesting answer. I don't know.
The Roosevelt who started it, which is a Democrat.
Hey, shout out Christopher Muse for sending the happy poop. And shout out Toe for the baller alert for sending the turkey for 2,000. Shout out Owen Dahl for sending the 250 joules, the clapping seals. Appreciate the support, guys. I just caught those.
And Reagan, he's one of the historical presidents that have close ties with Saudi Arabia. But we've worked with all.
But now, here's the thing: we need to get into the real reason why we're so linked in with Saudi Arabia. And shout out for Redacted, because it was actually the perfect video explaining exactly why we're so intertwined with Saudi Arabia. If you just don't know, so let's go ahead and take it. Let's go ahead and learn together, right?
MBS. This is his first visit to the U.S. since the trial of his murder for Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi, which was dismissed by the Biden administration.
Yep.
Now, I want to go over the complicated history between the United States and Saudi Arabia. This is not necessarily an indictment on the Trump administration or the current leadership of Saudi Arabia. This is the result of decades of corruption, deep state corruption that was started in 1974. So the fact that the Trump administration and the Crown Prince have to both keep this going, they have to. And I'm going to show you why and how it's not actually good for Americans, especially American workers. Now, the president and the Crown Prince made themselves besties. The White House rolled out the red carpet, full military salute. Now, Washington always pretends that this is about strategic stability, but in reality, it's about weapons, money, and ensuring that the U.S. keeps its foothold in the Gulf, and also making sure that the U.S. dollar does not collapse. Now, President Biden's policy was to make Saudi Arabia a pariah. That was never going to be possible. The United States used Saudi Arabia to establish the petrodollar in the 1970s and sold Saudi Arabia treasury securities outside of the normal auction. Now, David Spiro's great book is a great way to find out this backstory. He used reporting from leaked documents and interviews. He pointed out how in 1974, the U.S. made a backdoor deal with Saudi Arabia to make sure that the U.S. would, in fact, be the world's global currency. That deal wasn't just unusual, it was secret. Saudi Arabia was allowed to buy U.S. debt on private terms and shielded from other allies because the U.S. needed someone to anchor the dollar after Nixon had basically killed it by killing the gold standard in 1971. Now, without Saudi buying treasuries and pricing oil in dollars, the dollar may not have survived the 1970s inflation crisis. But because the United States dollar is the global currency due to the petrodollar, that's why we have a $38 trillion debt, because we can just keep borrowing on this premise. So now you see why this relationship is so important to the United States. Also, Saudi does still have quite a bit of those U.S. treasuries.
Yeah, I mean, not only do they have U.S. treasuries, but they're also saying, yeah, we got enough money to also invest $1 trillion into our AI infrastructure and also help them with their AI infrastructure. And of course, while they help us maintain our petrodollar power, and of course, we help them maintain some type of oil dominance.
Take a look. They, as of the end of last year, still had about 144 billion. In sum, the U.S.-Saudi business arrangement runs long and deep.
And this was in 2024. This was only last year. Saudi Arabia's U.S. Treasury holding hit a 4-year high. I mean, let's be real. The biggest holder of our treasuries, I believe, is not China, believe it or not, but it's Japan.
These holdings are not just symbolic. They stabilize the Saudi riyal too. Both countries need each other. Saudi Arabia's currency is pegged to the US dollar, so they must hold their treasuries to defend their own economy. That's why that idea of breaking up with Saudi Arabia was always theater. Saudi Arabia has always been the pillar of US hegemony. That hegemony runs both ways. Every president, either Democrat.
Yeah, it's like, bro, we're pretty much attached by the hip. We're like conjoined twins that share a heart. Like, if that heart stops, both of us die. So if our economy goes down, their economy goes down. If their economy goes down, well, then our economy is going to suffer just the same. So yeah, we're kind of conjoined at the hip right now.
Or Republican ultimately bends the knee because they cannot afford to collapse the petrodollar, because that would cause a total collapse and show the world that the US dollar is insolvent. So what does this relationship look like today, knowing this? So now you can't say, oh, Trump wants to do this, he wants this, right? It's not about what Trump might personally want. This is why President Biden, even though he wanted to talk tough about Saudi Arabia, human rights, blah, 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 gay rights, he couldn't.
Yep, trying to sell Western ideology to Muslim country, couldn't get it done. I mean, they allow women to drive, so I guess he got that done. So I guess, no, actually, when did they start allowing women to drive? Can we blame Biden for that one or nah? But yeah, they started allowing women to drive. So, I mean, that's an accomplishment. As far as women's rights go, you know, they're still looking at us like we crazy. But they can drive. That's a start.
It was not possible.
You know, give them another 50 to 100 years. They might even start voting. You never know.
So what does that look like today? Well, the two leaders announced a $600 billion investment in U.S. infrastructure and U.S. Business Watch.
Mr. President, and today and tomorrow we're going to announce that we are going to increase that $600 billion to almost $1 trillion of investment, real investment and real opportunity by details in many areas. And the agreement that we are signing today in many areas in technology, in AI, in earth materials, magnet, etc., that will create a lot of investment opportunities.
So you are doing that now. You're saying to me now that the 600 billion will be 1 trillion.
Definitely, because what we are signing, it will facilitate that. And
I like that very much.
You worked hard.
No, that's great. I appreciate that. That's great. We're doing numbers that nobody's ever done. And in all fairness, if you didn't see potential in the U.S., you wouldn't be doing that.
Definitely.
You don't want to lose money.
As you said, Mr. President, it's the most hottest country.
If we could stop there.
It's interesting. You mean if you didn't see potential in the U.S., boy, like, if you don't invest in us, you go down with us. Pretty much is what she's going to get into what I'm saying as well. It's like, see potential. I mean, you better see potential, because if we go down, you go down, buddy. And if you want to maintain that strong position in the Middle East, you better make sure we doing good with y'all. You better. I mean, maybe we could use also a couple Saudi rich Americans, maybe make more American billionaires through y'all money. That'd be great. But yeah, y'all better tap in with us. Like, what? But yes, it is funny how Trump is kind of making it seem that, oh, well, they're doing this because they see the prosperity of America and they truly believe and they see that we're going in the right direction, when really they're conjoined at the hip. And we both share the same heartbeat. And once the heartbeat fades, we both go. So that's really the reason why. It's not because they believe in our future. It's because, well, our future determines their future.
He's saying the U.S. has so much potential and talent when he told Fox News that we don't. But again, he's trying to push that Saudi will make this investment inside the United States. And we're going to talk more about how that pays back the American worker in a second.
So what if those who were once called conspiracy?
Which I believe. Like I said, they have all the incentive in the world to invest in America. Why wouldn't they try to make sure that the country that, well, they're conjoined at the hip to economically would succeed? Like, why would they not want to make sure that happens? Like, come on now.
Also did scold the press for asking about the death of Jamal Khashoggi, the Washington Post reporter. Now, you'll remember the Biden administration had no choice but to dismiss that case because MBS had been crowned the crown prince, and there are laws about prosecuting a sovereign. Here, President Trump is saying, look, we don't want to talk about that, basically. Yes, that guy died a horrible death. That's not why we're here. Watch.
He's done a phenomenal job
mentioning
somebody that was extremely controversial.
And
a lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about.
Shout out to my man, the original Backyard Gamer. How's it going, brother? He says, I'm on level 27 today. Shout out S.E.T. Shout out Jesus for letting me live this long. Hey, level 27. Happy birthday, brother. Happy birthday.
Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Okay, just you ask, Mr. President, you allow me to answer. I feel painful about,
Okay. It would seem very unlikely that the crown prince, if he did not have a direct hand in it, he would know who did. President Trump is, in fact, right that the Khashoggis are a suspicious family. Did you know they are tied to Jeffrey Epstein? His uncle, Adnan Khashoggi, was one of the world's most infamous arm brokers and one of the financiers behind Jeffrey Epstein's early rise. And in fact, Epstein did try to broker deals involving Saudi nuclear programs, but there is no evidence that Jamal Khashoggi had anything to do with that. There is evidence that he died a painful death by way of a bone saw, but Trump is saying it's rude to ask what he knows about it. Okay, again, this is more evidence of a deep state actors than anything else. This Khashoggi, Epstein, Saudi, deep state deals, the petrodollar. You can see where I'm going with this, right? None of this has to do with the American worker, but we are having to observe it. What else does Saudi Arabia want from the U.S.? A military alliance. They have long sought a formal defense guarantee from the U.S., much like the one that President Trump recently inked with the government of Qatar.
Yeah, we're offering them pretty much like Article 5 protection. If somebody attacks Qatar, it's damn near like they're attacking the U.S., which damn near gives Qatar ultimate protection in the Middle East and basically around the world. And thanks to Israel, or Bibi, thanks to you, now we got to give these guys Article 5 protection, or we gave them Article 5 protection. Also because of you, Saudi Arabia also lined themselves with Pakistan to get protection as well. So appreciate that. Now we might be looking at a Muslim NATO, and who wants that?
Though much good it did them, because not long after that ink dried, Israel went and bombed Qatar. The only thing the United States did to defend them was make Bibi Netanyahu call and apologize. So I don't know what that defense is worth. I wouldn't be too keen if I were a foreign nation for the United States protection. But
I think Qatar just got to get down with the idea of like, we'll protect you from everybody but Israel. That's it. That's all. That's it. I mean, as long as you don't piss off Israel, Qatar, you ain't got nothing to worry about. I know it's bullshit, but that's just the way the world works today.
Okay. Now, when you ask the U.S. State Department, why do the Saudis want U.S. protection when we have not been able to protect anyone from Israel. Our guarantees are worth not very much. We go to war based on lies in the Middle East. Why would
Well, let's be real though. I mean, people just don't want to fuck around and find out. Like, that's really what it's about. I mean, do they really want to play with the if factor that we do pull up and do something? Like, that's it. All we gotta say, sometimes we just gotta say it, and people are just gonna fear off our word. And if they test it, then okay, yes, we'll deal with. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But 9 times out of 10, we just gotta say it, and they won't even play around with us because they don't want to f around and find out. Like, who want to sit there and attack a country that we're supposed to have Article 5 protection over? Like, come on now.
See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
And I just don't think they're about that life.
Saudi want that? They see it. They're not stupid. Why would they want that? They say, well, the Saudis are afraid of Iran getting a nuclear weapon, which makes no sense because take a look, their neighbor to the north, Israel, has a nuclear weapon. They know this. Everybody they should be more afraid of that.
I mean, come on now. If you don't know that Israel got nukes by now, man, where have you been? Well, at least you know right now. Hey, if you ain't know, yes, Israel has nukes. And if you're saying S.E.T, but isn't it the same Israel that's upset about Iran having a possibility of nukes and that their nukes are not being monitored? Yes, actually. And no, Israel has not been signed under any nuclear treaty. Their nukes aren't inspected. They're not inspected. So, well, we really don't even know how much they have. I think like recent information, probably like 90 nuclear warheads. And if you're wondering how they got them, from us. So, yeah.
Then the possibility of Iran getting a nuclear weapon, which that has never been proven. Okay, the State Department would say, well, that's because Iran seeks regime change in Saudi Arabia. Again, there's not been proof of that. The American line, the State Department would say, well, Saudi Arabia thinks that Iran will invade them eventually, and they're worried about that. Based on what exactly would you be afraid of Iran making a foreign invasion? Because if you take a look at the list of who since 1950 has actually done cross-border invasions, who there has not on this list? Iraq has, Saudi Arabia, yes, Turkey, Israel, the list.
I ain't gonna lie, this is a harsh ass list. Hold on now. Like, I gotta make this point mainstream here. Look at this. Major Middle East invasions since 1950s. Of course, we got Turkey doing 2 of them. We got Iraq doing about 2 of them. We got Saudi Arabia, military intervention in Yemen. We got 1. Israel. 1956 invasion of Egypt, 1967 invasion and occupation of the West Bank and Gaza and the Golan Heights, like 1978 invasion of Lebanon, and actually still bombing Lebanon right now, but 2006 invasion of Lebanon, and numerous incursions into Syria, which actually they bombed Syria a while back for the Druids, or however the Druids, I think that's what they're called. But yes, so, and an ongoing occupation recognized under international law. So, yeah, when it comes to the most, I guess, aggressive force in the Middle East, it's most definitely Israel.
It almost doesn't fit on my screen. So Iran hasn't invaded anyone in a century. If Saudi Arabia is afraid of an invasion, Iran is a not very logical suspect. So what does Saudi Arabia really need U.S. protection for? It's not very logical, is it? When you look at, though, our history of Saudi Arabia, it's clear Washington does not protect Saudi Arabia out of mutual love. Saudi Arabia surely does not trust Washington. They'd be a fool to. They do it because both sides are chained together by money, the dollar, the debt, the oil, the weapons.
I was going to say they need to reframe that or make it a different term. Like it's not aid or whatever. It's money laundering. That's what it basically is.
Well, it has been. Yeah. I mean, this underhand deal that gave the Saudis U.S. treasuries and then gave the United States the petrodollar, even though the United States had committed at the Bretton Woods Agreement that it would not make deals like this under the table. They did it, right? So it's a long line of corruption that we've had to hold up. Our current leaders, I mean, we're not, we don't make excuses for our current leaders, but they didn't do this. This was done decades ago. So Why should we care if it means that the United States will make money around the world and can continue to operate on all of this debt? Why should we care? Well, one, the debt is not good for us. It is a theft from the American people. It continues to devalue the dollar that we go to work for every day. It keeps Washington addicted to cheap borrowing, cheap oil, endless military commitments. It keeps our troops stationed in places they do not need to be. So when President Trump brags that, like, oh, we have this $600 billion investment, it's so good for us, it's not really true, because those investments only exist inside a system that lets Washington continue to pile up the debt. So we can make this one transactional investment, but we are always tied to the debt based on the petrodollar. Every dollar of that debt is a theft from the American working class, and through inflation and declining purchasing power. So it might be nice that we have diplomatic niceties with Saudi Arabia. It is not good for either country. Let me know what you think of this.
No, you're right. And it hasn't been since the 1970s. And Aramco, like with the oil deals, like you have these $1 trillion in oil monies that flowing back to U.S. treasuries.
And shout out to these guys that redacted. Now I'm going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and get on to the right side of media. But before that, I'm going to play one of the clips of the night. So shout out to this lady right here.
Of any Republicans from the files.
Whoops. There we go.
Well, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, says the reason why the GOP is fine releasing the Epstein files now is because they have been scrubbing the names of any Republicans from the files.
I've been recently told the reason they're going to be releasing these things, and the reason for the flip, is that they're sanitizing these files. There's a facility in Winchester, Virginia, where they're scrubbing the files to take Republican names out. That's what I was told by a pretty good source.
Okay, so.
And I was told by a pretty good source that Mark Epstein also was pretty tied in with his brother's dealings. And of course, when it came to financial fraud or financial crimes, and also, you know, when it came to his trafficking network. So yeah, Mark Epstein might also be implicated in the Epstein files as well. So probably why he's out here trying to sound off as well.
Oh, they're taking the names out of the files. He says that's what he's been told from a pretty good source. It could be true, could be not true. You know, now Trump is saying it's fine, release the files, it's fine. But apparently Trump was so upset about or worried about the Epstein files being released that perhaps Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, is onto something when he says they were scrubbing them, because allegedly Trump and some of his cronies, they actually went to the Situation Room to have a conversation about what to do in regards to the Epstein files being released. Now you're just validating all of our suspicions that it was Israel, a foreign country, and that is why you have to sit in the war room to decide how this implicates and how this affects foreign policy.
Sources are telling CNN the top Trump administration officials held a meeting on this issue, not just at the White House, but in the Situation Room. According to multiple sources, the meeting was said to have included the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert.
Could you be more obvious that Epstein was an asset of Mossad, an asset of Israel, and now you're sitting in the Situation Room to discuss what are the implications of this? What blackmail are we going to be losing, or how many of us have been blackmailed by this, and how many of us are going to be exposed for the fact that we've been conducting American foreign policy at the behest of Israel because we're all under blackmail? Here is top spy Ari Ben-Menashe validating that Epstein was in fact working for Israel, which gives us again all the more reason why these guys were sitting in the Situation Room having this discussion, why Epstein's brother Mark says, yeah, they're scrubbing all the names, because there's some national security implications to this, because Epstein was actually an Israeli asset.
The most alarming allegations that you've been making are that the entire Epstein operation was a honey trap operation to entrap politicians, policymakers, celebrities, people in the media, basically to become Israel's assets.
Correct. It became basically an intelligence operation to entrap different politicians.
I think we all know at this point exactly what the whole mission was, and clearly it was successful because our politicians are completely in the pocket of Israel.
I mean, all right, I could see where she's trying to summon it off with, oh, well, the reason why both sides are afraid to release it is because of Israel. Now, I believe that the Democrats didn't want to release it because it implicated Bill Clinton and probably other top Democrats, and Republicans is most likely the same. So I think both sides are trying to cover each other's ass. But hey, it was voted to be released unanimously. So guess what? Or ununanimously. So I mean, there was nobody who actually, wait, there was one guy. There was one guy who voted no to release the Epstein list, and he said he did it on principle. And I'm like, nope, check that guy's bank account, check his text message history, because now he's looking a little bit guilty. But yes, it was damn near unanimous. Pretty much everybody voted to get it open. We're going to see what Trump says now. Or, well, I believe it's going to the Senate, then Trump. All right, though, let's go ahead and get into the right side of the media and let's see what they're talking about.
There was a crown prince in the White House today, and we're not talking about Barron. The Saudi prince swung by, and unlike Biden, Trump didn't give him a fist bump. He got a carriage escort and a flyover.
Oh, and shout out to my man, the original backyard gamer, or gaming. He says, "Don't believe what the woman's saying." Yeah, you can't take it all at face value. I know there's a lot of people who's quick to jump off the ledge with the whole, "Oh, it's all Israel. It's all because of Israel, and it's the only reason you won't see it is Israel." No, I mean, I think one of the main reasons that we won't see it is because it implicates both sides. Well, I say the main reason they was blocking us, because now we're going to see it. Now, they are saying that they're going to try to scrub some things, but we're smart enough to put the puzzles together. I mean, let's say this. Them leaving out information is only going to make it worse on them. And they see how bad it got when they just didn't want to release it at all. Like, you're going to release it. There going to be stuff missing. We're just going to fill in the blanks for you guys. And if it ain't right, well, you guys are just going to be irritated with the off answers or the wrong answers. That's going to make a lot of people look stupid, like the whole blowing Bubba fiasco with Trump. So, hey, it would have never been like that if you'd have just released them all in the first place. Now everybody thinking Trump blew Bill Clinton. It happens.
6 fighter jets, F-15s, and F-35s. MBS liked the jets so much, he wants to buy some. Now 47s, selling him 48 at 100 mil apiece. Let's pray the Chinese spies don't reverse engineer it. The president gave him a tour around the White House and showed him Otto Penn's portrait. No more knuckles.
I mean, that's crazy. That's like, Mark, I'm not even gonna lie. Some of you, you got true TDS. I'll give it to you. That was hilarious. He goes, so the Democrats didn't care about a pedophile network? Like, and then here's the thing. Don't you think it's like the dumbest arguments when they say, "Oh, Biden didn't run on it." So you have to run on it to catch pedophiles? You have to run to try to like catch these pedophile billionaires that are selling children? Like, you got to run on that. You just can't do it. I don't know, just off the goodwill of it. I don't know, just for justice, like morality, your ethics. Like, it has to be because you got to run on it as a president to do that. That's crazy to hear right there. That's wild. I mean, and you're getting mad at MAGA? The people who are actually bringing it up, who put it to the front and center, you're getting mad at them. But you're okay with the Democrats not even talking about it for 4 years straight, as these guys were just walking around willy-nilly. Okay, bro. Okay.
Presidents. Does Trump blow them all away?
Oh, man, these people ain't real people sometimes. I mean, bro, over here supporting pedophiles. Like, look, man, it's cool to have pedophiles around long as the Democrats are in power. But when Trump's in power, now I want to cry about it. Because the Dems didn't run on it. You got to run to catch pedophiles, bro. That's not a straw man. That's what you said. That's literally what you said, my friend. When you guys sit there and said that dumb argument of, "Oh, well, the Dems didn't run on it," you got to run on it to catch pedophiles? Like, you just can't come in there and be like, "Hey, yo, there's some suspicious stuff that happened with this man, Jeffrey Epstein. Let's look into it." Like, you got to run on it. But you want to get mad at MAGA, though. The guys who's bringing it front and center, though. Okay, bro. Okay. Man, literally. Oh, shout out to my man, Original Backyard Gamer. He says, check his PC. No, literally. Check PC, check bank accounts, all that.
And Trump doesn't give a fist pump. I grabbed that hand. I don't give a hell where that hand's been. I grabbed that hand.
Trump made sure not to squeeze too hard. The prince needs to keep his hand loose.
No spin, guys. No spin. The problem is you guys be like, you hate Trump so much when you say something stupid. That's really what it is. It's like you sit there and you hate Trump so much, you end up saying something of that, well, honestly, pretty retarded. Like, the bro literally sat there and said, "Oh, it's okay for the Dems not to investigate pedophiles. I'm going to sit here and bitch all day about MAGA, who is actually trying to get this released, who actually brought it front and center." And we're talking about the MAGA base. What did the Dems do but sit there and stay silent for 4 years straight while all these guys were still running around? Okay, then.
For all the John Hancocks.
I mean, you can't make this up, bro.
To invest $600 billion.
They'll say spin, but they don't want to they don't want to get down with the fact that they literally just sat there and said, yeah, well, pedophilia is okay. You know, as long as you're a Democrat, you don't, run on it. I mean, hey, it makes a lot of sense that you guys support crime. It does. I mean, look what y'all did with the border, and then look what you were trying to tell us. That, well, it's not a crime to illegally cross the border. Okay.
$1 into the United States. And because he's my friend, he might make it $1 trillion, but I'm going to have to work on him. And that means.
And shout out Tove. She says, I mean, that would be a wild plot twist. If that whole Trump Bubba thing was true, then certain people have to admit we have a gay president, which, I'll be honest with you, I really wouldn't care. But if that all that was Trump was trying to hide is the fact that he was gay, then it is. I mean, hey, you have nothing to lose now. Now you really have no reason to hide. You might as well go ahead and drop everything if that's all it was about. But you never know. He says that Mark has won the Dunce Cap of the Day award. No, literally has won the Dunce Cap of the Day. My man's been straight TDS out the whole time, trying to antagonize people, just making himself look stupid. And I'm just like, bro. Okay, man, I watch you make yourself look stupid for 5 minutes. I can do it for another 5.
Investments in plants, in companies, money on Wall Street, and what it really means for everybody that really counts as jobs.
There was no argument.
Mr. Crown Prince, you did have a guy killed.
Like, bro, you see, there was no argument. There was no argument. Bro, literally, I'm going off what that man said himself. That's why y'all sound retarded. Because there was no argument. I'm literally just repeating what that man said. Y'all saying that I'm twisting it, and that's not an argument.
With a bone saw. You think 600 billion?
I don't even know what y'all talking about.
We're gonna announce that we are gonna increase that 600 billion to almost $1 trillion of investment.
You're saying to me now,
all right,
that the 600 billion
I'll leave the young man alone.
Definitely, because what we are signing it will facilitate that, and
I like that very much. If you didn't see potential in the U.S., you wouldn't be doing that.
Definitely,
you don't want to lose money.
As you said, Mr. President, it's the most.
Why not? I'll ban you. Why not?
That's better. A little checkbook diplomacy goes a long way, especially with American manufacturing.
We're looking at tripling the output of our Greenville, South Carolina facility, where we make the gas turbine.
Like, bro, Zuko, is it not being delivered right now? When Trump came into office, they already released they already released files. Then the committee came out and got more. The most Epstein files have been released under Trump. That's why you sound dumb. Like, did Trump not just say for the Republicans to release the Epstein files? Have Epstein files not been released since the beginning of his presidency? Have not more files on the Epstein list been released? Bro, have not more files on the Epstein list been released under Trump? Okay, then. That's why y'all sound dumb. Because you literally trying to make excuses for an administration that sat there and didn't say nothing, pretty much hid it for 4 years straight, and then want to talk about it once Trump's in office. So pretty much you guys were saying, oh, yeah, it was okay that they was hiding it, but Trump is slow rolling it and we're crying about it. Even though, the guy before didn't talk not one bit about it, even though he had 4 years to tackle it, didn't do a damn thing. I mean, like I said, bro. I came at you, though. Hopefully you got a decent response for that.
That are supporting U.S. needs as well as the Saudi Arabia needs.
That guy right there, invited to the Oval to pop champagne over the Saudi deal, powers our ships, our jets, and our homes. Made in America with Saudi cash. And we're getting the kingdom addicted to American chips, so the Muslims don't buy China's AI. It's also about the P word. Peace. Trump's trying to get the Saudis and the Israelis to make love, not war. The UN Security Council just approved Trump's Gaza peace plan, and we need Saudi buy-in. But they want security guarantees. The Saudis want a NATO-style defense pact with the United States. It's all about trust.
Look, we have a country that trusts us, and that's why they make that investment. If they didn't trust us, they couldn't make that investment. And we trust them. They've been very reliable. And I don't think our relationship could be better.
The Saudis didn't trust.
Wrong, Zuko. Those were private investigators. That was it. Like, sorry, that was like private investigator information that everybody already knew about. So once again, wrong. And then, like I said, when I said the most new information, how much do we know compared from Biden compared to Trump? We know a lot more under Trump about what Epstein was getting into than under Biden. So once again, your argument fails that yes, Trump has done more to release the Epstein list than Biden. I mean, y'all have already admitted that with the whole, oh, Biden didn't run on it, so why should he have to? Why are y'all mad that he didn't do anything about it? Like, you kind of see how you're going against your own argument, brother.
Biden. He declared a war on oil
You guys
and
are
called
funny.
the prince barbaric. Then came back begging for more oil when gas hit $5 a gallon. And he wouldn't even shake his hand. So the Saudis started sending Joe to voicemail. With Trump, they're sending us $1 trillion and buying our tech and jets. But ABC News just doesn't get it.
Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news, ABC fake news, one of the worst in the business. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about, but he knew nothing about it. And we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Yeah, which is a bit unfair because it's like, he wasn't in power when that happened. So to ask him like he knew, like he'd have any real details about it was a bit unfair.
Does ABC know their parent company, Disney, just built a Disney Mouse castle in Riyadh? So Bob Iger can do business with the prince, but Trump can't? And just wait until ABC finds about our allies like Mexico and Iraq and the Philippines, just to name.
Hey, I know that one. I didn't know Disneyland was out there in Saudi Arabia. I didn't. Hey, I was today years old when I learned that, but that is quite the coincidence.
A few. They're not squeaky clean. Obama hosted Xi Jinping for a state dinner. That guy doesn't like a general. He just kills him. Where's ABC on that? China killed 1 million Americans. Trump called it the China virus. And ABC said Trump was being mean. The Saudis have been giving us oil, bases, and intel, and now $1 trillion. Not a bad ally. America was allied with Saddam Hussein for a while, even Stalin. Sometimes the enemy of your enemy is your friend. That same ABC reporter used to submit her questions ahead of time to Biden. Look at that. You want to talk about corruption? Mary Bruce should look in the mirror. How do you think about your place in history? Was one of the questions she gave Biden in advance. Trump's the one actually making history. He stopped the war. He's helping Gaza rebuild and making the Saudis foot the bill.
I want to ask you, how much money is Saudi Arabia giving for Gaza reconstruction?
We are in discussion about that. Still, there is no amount being
It'll be a lot.
named, but
It'll be a
we will.
If the Crown Prince builds a Trump Tower in Gaza, Trump can sleep in his own bed when he signs the new Abraham Accords. That's if he sleeps at all.
He does not sleep much, and I don't sleep much. I think we have the same schedule. We're thinking about our countries. And if you sleep a lot and you're president, we just had one that slept more than any president. He broke every record. He sleeps all the time, during the day, during the night, on the beach. The only guy could fall asleep on the beach with the press watching.
If you're Trump, how can you sleep? Biden left the world a mess. Now Trump's cleaning it up and saving you a lot of money. Oil's down 17%. Coal's down 25%. Lumber's down. Wheat, corn, eggs, all down. Still more to do, but the trend is our friend. Healthcare's next. He wants to cut out the middleman and send you a check direct. So you control your healthcare, not the insurance company. Plus, we might get tariff rebates. How about a thank you?
Welfare was going up. Everything was going up. Government jobs were going up. Real jobs were going
Now,
up.
as far as that $2,000 check for the tariffs, I mean, yeah, we'll see how that goes down because they're talking about what was it? It's going to be mid 2026 when they're going to try to push that out. So I guess they're trying to wait till they get more tariff revenue to cover the complete bill. Because right now, I don't think they got enough tariff revenue to cover that bill of sending out $2,000, like per working American citizen or tax filing American citizen.
Down. So you would have had that catastrophe, and on top of it, instead of 20 trillion coming in, you would have had 10 trillion leaving our country. In other words, you would have had a catastrophe. You probably would have had a bankrupt country. You are so damn lucky that I won that election. I'm telling you.
You know who else agrees? The Kennedys.
If I had won the presidency as an independent, then it would have been very, very hard for me to govern. I think President Trump has gotten more done than any other president in this period of time. And he was able to do probably more than at least any president since Franklin Roosevelt's first term.
Remember when they said Biden was FDR? The only thing they had in common was they hid their health from the country. Trump, the diplomat's making friends overseas so we can make more money in America. Here's some advice. Treat everybody with respect. Fine dining, no fist bumps.
I probably made a lot of enemies because in your honor, we're having a dinner tonight, a beautiful dinner tonight, and we have a very small room, right? It's called the East Room, and it's beautiful, it's lovely, but it's like for a little cocktail before you go into a ballroom. It's a very small room. They've wanted a new ballroom for 150 years. We could have sold the big ballroom out 3 times in honor of this gentleman.
Tonight's guest list is A-list. Elon Musk, Tiger Woods, Ronaldo, all the best in their business, all billionaires, and all of them a little cramped without a big, beautiful ballroom. You know who won't be invited? Pelosi. Democrats always make a fool of themselves at these functions. Like the Democrat governor of Maine, she can't even do a shot ski without staining her dress. Watch.
This is great, you know. 2, 3, shot ski!
What in the Lord? What the?
Hakeem's still rocking the sombrero. He thinks he's at a Mexican birthday party.
Their lies is what has gotten them in trouble. It's the reason why Republicans were beaten like a piñata on election day.
The only one beaten like a piñata was the Palestinian.
Like I said, if y'all want to oversell the fact that you want a blue state and 2 blue states and a blue city, go ahead, guys. We'll let y'all have it.
Chuck Schumer. Everyone's grabbing a stick and
they say they're winning on affordability, but I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it's red states are actually more affordable to live in than blue states. And I mean, we could test this across the board. I mean, give me your favorite blue state and we can compare it to red states, and we will all see that it's cheaper across the board to live in red states. So when it comes to these Republicans and how they govern their states, they tackle affordability. Blue states, not so much. I mean, shoot, there's like a 30% difference on what you would pay for groceries. And I would say my state to compare to California is like almost a 30% difference. And I'm talking about I'm paying 30% less than people is in California.
Hacking. Even Shree's swinging.
Oh.
I think we need.
Oh, and no, Zuko. Like, brother, you know all right. You're relying on past information. Let me update you. What did Trump say? That he wants the Epstein files to be released. Ever since the reason why we got an ununanimous decision on that is because Trump said that, or else the Republicans would have been voting to keep it hidden, or to keep it locked up. So because Trump reversed course and he's keeping this promise now, you can't really sit there and bring up the past like all the time. Like, well, in the past he said no. Let's talk about now. Let's talk about what's going on now. Now, if he didn't say this, we could sit there and go and talk about the past because that's the last thing that he said on it. But let's talk about what's going on today.
A leader that has a strong resolve. We need a leader that has a vision. We need a leader that will fight with this administration.
Who is that person?
I don't know, Mr. Schumer.
And shout out to Original Backyard Gaming. It's Original Backyard Gaming. I don't know why I want to keep saying gamer. I mean this relation. All right. He said, diplomatically speaking, this is an important one. Now, when it comes to how Iran is not causing war, mind you, they operate through terrorist cells and proxies. I find that hard to believe. It's murky. You're right. It's murky, but getting better. I mean, yeah, you're right. We're talking about proxies and through terrorist cells that, well, I mean, we've linked terrorist cells back to ISIS, which isn't really in Iran. So I'm gonna be honest with you. when it comes to the terrorist cells, we found them, but not for Iran. So I guess we could say through proxy for sure, but through terrorist cells, I have not found proof of that yet. But if you do, then please let me know, dog. Because I trust me, if you're saying it, you most likely might have something on it.
Is not the right person.
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox News Patriot today. Click join to find out how.
All right, now let's go ahead and stay on the right side of media, and then we're gonna switch on over to the left side with an interview with what was it? I forgot who interviewed Hakeem Jeffries. Was it Jake Tapper? Well, we'll find out later. Let's get into President AOC, because they're pretty much trying to say that AOC might be the front runner if she de-radicalize. I mean, let's see what my man means by that. What was it? What's his name?
Liberal Bill Maher must have
Bill
been
Maher.
stoned out of.
Man, I'm tired. But yes, liberal Bill Maher pretty much said that if AOC can de-radicalize, she'd be a pretty viable candidate for president.
His mind when he said that squad leader AOC would make a fantastic candidate for president.
Oh, and shout out to my man Backyard Gamer. Hold on, man. I forgot. That's a baller alert. Appreciate the support, brother.
If she had some deprogramming, she could be such a fantastic candidate.
What do you mean deprogramming?
She's never going to resonate with people outside of the bubble that she lives in the very, very far left.
Well,
the only way the Democrats will ever win again, not that the Republicans are probably going to give it back, is to be more moderate.
And now AOC is showing off how she'll lose all 50 states by going the full 20 on an 80-20 issue. She's celebrating Transgender Awareness Week. Kennedy, I forgot to wish you happy Transgender Awareness Week.
Thank you, Jesse.
You're welcome.
And before we get into this, you know what, LaFon, we can do this little game real quick of the cost of living game. So, and shout out to this website, mylifeelsewhere.com. It's a great website that lets you compare cities, states in terms of affordability. So right here, as you see, I got my state of Ohio and the overly expensive state of California, and we're comparing cost of living. Now, if you close in, California is 34% more expensive than Ohio. I mean, you're paying more in restaurants, groceries, transportation, housing across the goddamn board. I mean, sweet Jesus. And I mean, you go ahead and switch it out, California. I mean, we could go ahead and switch California for somewhere like, let's try New York. I mean, so that's pretty fair, right? Let's try New York. And then once again, across the board, New York is definitely more expensive than Ohio. Across the board. I mean, not one spot. I mean, shoot, let's go to a less, a less notarized liberal state or blue state. Colorado. Why not? Colorado's actually a decently good one. Why not Colorado? Let's compare that to Ohio. Colorado is 20% more expensive than Ohio. Still. I mean, you know what? But that's unfair. That's Ohio. Let's try Alabama. Let's see. Colorado is still more expensive. Still. So it does seem like there's a pattern of, well, these blue states being way more expensive to live in than red states. So when it comes to affordability, the affordability crisis that the Dems are talking about, that's their affordability crisis. But hey, it is what it is. Hopefully, this kind of removed the brainwashing from some of the viewers about, oh, the affordability crisis across the board and it's everywhere. No, it's just in blue states where we're damn near paying a 30% difference in pricing. But all right, back to it.
How are you celebrating?
Shave my beard just in time for the show.
Oh, you look great.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, gotcha.
How am I celebrating?
And shout out my man Gaming. He says check Missouri against Ohio, Cali, and Florida. Got you.
I love watching the left cannibalize itself. I really, really do. I do not wish progressives any luck in elections. I'm terrified for the reign of Zohran Mamdani here in New York. It has emboldened people like AOC. The most interesting thing is watching her triangulate on whether or not one of her fellow progressives should primary Hakeem Jeffries. Because now she has to be a little bit more of a mainstream Democrat if she wants to run for president in 2028. That means she cannot turf Democrat leadership especially if the guy who's going to primary him will probably lose and Hakeem Jeffries will stay exactly where she is. I don't think that there is a way to reprogram a progressive. I think, unfortunately, that it is an orthodoxy and a mental virus that takes over any rational component of a person's executive function. Therefore,
cooking.
she cannot be the head of the executive branch.
She's
Harold,
cooking.
is AOC presidential timber?
I don't know. I think that what Bill, I think, was trying to say, she could be, but I think what he was trying to say is you can't connect with everybody in the country if you have these views that are so outside of where the mainstream is. She clearly has some of the attributes. She's smart. She's popular. She's well known in the country. That when I say popular, well known is what I really mean. But I was listening to someone today who wrote a book on RFK, and he talked about how.
All right, let me go ahead and let's look at the results of what my man Gamer sent in, or Gaming. I keep effing that up. But all right, though, let's go to Ohio versus Missouri. Cost of living. Ohio is 0.01% more expensive than Missouri. So apparently we pay 1% less in Ohio when it comes to groceries. We pay 5.1% less in Ohio when it comes to groceries, and 1% when it comes to restaurants. We're paying more in transportation, entertainment, and sports by 3%, and childcare by 6% more in Ohio. Oof. I mean, damn, that childcare is sounding good in Missouri right now. And then let's go ahead, of course, and let's go to the next one that you asked for, which was California and Florida. And Florida is 15% cheaper than California across the board. Every single time. Every single time. So where's the affordability problem? All right. Actually, you know what? What did we learn today? Where's the affordability problem at? Blue states. I mean, just like how all the high crime areas are in blue cities. It just happens to be where things you don't want to happen at. Just these blue areas. It just happens to be like that, guys. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at the facts. Get mad at your liberal mayor, your liberal governor. Get mad at them.
Robert F. Kennedy, and he said, not Robert F. Kennedy Jr., but the Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy, and he said, one of the things that he was great about is he admitted when he made mistakes. He talked about policy errors and things he could grow on. I think about my time in politics. You said something to me the other day. I didn't support term limits when I got to Congress. I now am a massive supporter of term limits. I tried to give myself space all the time to grow. I was not totally for charter schools and vouchers when I got to Congress. I've since changed. I've gone so far as I think we need massive federal involvement. We got to take it from the locals because they're not doing a good enough job. I used to think we should lower taxes on certain businesses. Once I got to Congress, I learned better, and my private sector experience has got me to think about this even differently. She should do the same. And if you're willing to grow and show that you have space to grow, voters will reward you. That would be her lane to get there.
I've changed my.
And I love it. See, he's pretty much saying that, I guess he somewhat held the same beliefs, but he's like, once I went out there to the private sector, I got myself a business. I started realizing what some of these conservatives were talking about, and I chilled out on the liberal ideology. And that's a problem. I mean, AOC's never owned a business. Mondani's never owned a business. These are guys that you are hoping that can run America. Yeah, no, trust me, they're not the guiding light that you guys think they are, or your guiding light to a socialist utopia.
Position on filet of fish.
Not them.
I always thought it was gross, but now Trump's saying it's good if you add a little more tartar. I might try it tonight.
Delightful.
Yeah.
I don't know what that tastes like. Demonization of business, demonization of corporations. That's what I think of when I think of AOC. She does a lot of that. I have a very hard time with somebody who is highly critical of the biggest taxpayers in New York City. That's a problem, I would say, going forward. On transgender rights, where is she on women? Why does she not hold a press conference? Why are these Democrats not out there trying to protect these girls who are fighting for themselves without adults in the room standing up for them? In our Fox News poll on this past election night, we asked voters about transgender rights and if they've gone too far. Half of respondents think that transgender rights and this issue in this country has gone too far. If she wants to run on that, I don't know if that's presidential material.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube.
Lord knows she will, though. That's the problem. Lord knows she will. All right, though, let's get over to our guy, Hakeem Jeffries. One of our favorite guys. Okay, I'm lying. Let's be real. When it comes to Hakeem Jeffries, he's probably one of my favorite BSers. He just loves to BS. Everything's outrageous. Everything's fascist when it comes to Trump. Everything's unconstitutional. It's absolutely outrageous. But it's funny. It's funny. But hold on here while I find that video real quick. please enjoy this little clip. I know, right? You got to play the clip when you lost the video. Be like,
then you have Kash Patel. From the very moment that Kash Patel touched down in Utah wearing his FBI windbreaker and bringing with him this team of cameramen to document and dramatize every waking moment of his so-called investigation, the world should have known immediately that a cover-up was in the works. And I think a lot of you did. We knew. Most of you in the audience knew. Or most of the country likely knows that this is a cover-up, whether they want to admit it or not. We have this bug-eyed, documented liar running the FBI. A guy who wakes up every morning worshiping these three-legged demons and spits in the face of Charlie Kirk's Christian faith in the immediate wake of his death by saying that he'll be reunited with him in Valhalla, a place that doesn't exist. And let's not forget that Kash Patel is a guy whose girlfriend is now suing journalists that step out of line as a proxy weapon on behalf of the Trump administration, using the Banal Law Group, which has historically been used by Donald Trump multiple times, was a Kash Patel-connected law group for Fight with Kash, the organization that worked with me in a lawsuit against Newsweek, and who I have exchanged emails with. And when that introduction was made, it was really exciting because at the time, these were Trump's lawyers. Those lawyers are now representing the FBI director's girlfriend in a lawsuit against an American journalist who's had to flee the country because he's been doxxed. And meanwhile, the FBI director's girlfriend doesn't have to worry about her safety because she's being protected around the clock by an elite FBI unit. That's who's running the top law enforcement apparatus in this country. That's who's running the FBI.
And all right, now that I found the video, we are back.
With the bill to force the release of the Epstein files now cleared through the House, going through the Senate, and on its way to President Trump's desk soon, tonight a Republican effort to punish a Democratic colleague over her contact with Jeffrey Epstein failed inside of the House. That's because moments ago, lawmakers rejected a resolution to censure Democratic delegate Stacey Plaskett. She represents the Virgin Islands, for texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a 2019 hearing that featured Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen. These were texts that were among the 20,000 pages of documents the House released last week, and they show that Epstein texted.
And yes, this actually passed too. The GOP efforts to censor the House Dem for texting Epstein. Yeah, they say it actually failed. Honestly, I thought it actually got passed because I was actually looking at it and it looked like it was ahead. But hey. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me go check.
Stacey Plaskett saying, quote, Cohen brought up Rona, keeper of the secrets, referring to Trump's longtime assistant, Rona Graff. Plaskett responded, quote, Rona, and then asked, quick, I'm up next. Is that an acronym? Epstein replied, that's his assistant. A few minutes later, Plaskett asked this.
As Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot that went on.
A minute after Plaskett wrapped up her question.
All right, so correction. So yes, the vote was 214 to 209 against the censor. All Democrats plus a handful of Republicans blocked it. So yeah, was there a censor vote? Yes. The outcome is it did not pass. So she was not censored and she keeps her Intelligence Committee seat, at least for now. Wow. So you can literally be on the Intelligence Committee, be in contact with a possible asset, and keep your position. Wow. Ain't that about a bitch? Really? So a possible CIA, Mossad asset, you're on the Intelligence Committee, you're caught texting this man during an Intelligence Committee hearing, and you keep your seat? Wow. There really is no accountability in government.
There, Epstein texted her, quote, good work. The text exchange comes just 3 months after the Miami Herald published its investigation detailing Epstein's abuse of young girls. And tonight, House Democrats are fiercely defending Stacey Plaskett, with the leader, Hakeem Jeffries, calling the censure vote a political stunt, as Plaskett is echoing that defense and denying that Epstein had any influence on her questions.
Bro, y'all was texting during a hearing. I don't even know how you even, come on, you're caught red-handed, sis. The fact that the Dems are even willing to back y'all up, I mean, let's be real, man. The Dems are always willing to back up their own, no matter how egregious their crimes are. I mean, you see what they did with Jay Jones. Look what they're doing with this lady. Literally caught texting Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing. And she's on the Intelligence Committee, allegedly texting a guy who's been alleged to be a Mossad asset, a CIA asset. Like, and this is not enough to get your seat taken. Well, what is? I mean, what is at a certain point? What you got to do? Sell secrets to Russia now? Like, you got to go to the pinnacle of treason?
They've taken a text exchange which shows no participation, no assistance, no involvement in any illegal activity, and weaponized it for political theater. Because that's what this is.
And my source tonight is the Democratic leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries. And thank you, sir, for being here. Obviously, a lot of movement up on Capitol Hill today. And you heard Stacey Plaskett there. She was arguing her texts with Jeffrey Epstein were not illegal. But in your view, were they appropriate?
Well, Stacey Plaskett is not accused of violating any House rule, any law, any statute, and she's clearly and unequivocally denounced Jeffrey Epstein. And I think what the survivors fought for today is the type of transparency that came out of the House, went through the Senate, and is now on its way to Donald Trump's desk, where hopefully he'll sign it into law. Because at the end of the day, all the American people are asking for is just the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, which is why these Epstein files that Donald Trump and his administration has been hiding for months need to be released.
Hiding for months. If they've been hiding it for months, you guys been hiding it for 4 years. I mean, what's worse?
But do you think it was appropriate for her to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein 11 years after he pleaded guilty?
I mean, I have not had a conversation with Stacey Plaskett to discuss this issue because we've been focused today on making sure that there was a decisive.
I mean, bro, there ain't nothing to discuss. She was caught on camera. The evidence is right there. There's nothing she can say. I mean, the only thing she just got away with it. The fact that it didn't want to censor her over it. I mean, it is what it is. She got away with it. She literally got away with texting a possible foreign asset during an Intelligence Committee hearing, and she got away with it. And the Dems let her get away with it.
To vote as it related to the Epstein files and the release. I'm thankful for the work of Representative Massey, of Ro Khanna, but most importantly, the survivors.
Do you plan to talk to her about it?
I think that we successfully defeated a resolution that lacked any basis, was not credible, and was being brought by an individual who was trying to weaponize this issue to reinvigorate his own failed gubernatorial campaign.
Not credible? Bro, she's caught on 4K. Do I need to go into the details of? No, I got you. I got him. All right.
Campaign in South Carolina. It was rejected on a bipartisan basis on the floor today.
This is crazy.
That's the end of the story.
Yeah, I was just asking if you personally believe messaging with Jeffrey Epstein, who is at that point a registered.
This is crazy. I really can't believe they're just letting her off like that. Honestly, I'm actually upset that on the left side, I mean, bro, y'all just let anybody off at this point. We can no longer say that the left hold themselves accountable. Not at all. When you're caught like that, and your party still lets you off, they still don't throw you to the wolves, bro. At that point, you could be a Dem and do anything. I mean, bro, look what Jay Jones did. Literally wish death on children. Nobody asked him to step down. So, bro, it goes to show on the left, you can do anything. I mean, bro, maybe I should be a politician for the Dems, because I could do anything in the world and nobody's gonna say shit to me. Like, I could literally lie to their face. Nobody's gonna call me out on it. Oh man, I might want to be a Dem politician. I think I want to be a Democrat, guys. They can lie. But all right, though, let's get right into it. Whoops.
This is Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, the delegate from the Virgin Islands. On February 27th, 2019, Michael Cohen, the disgraced former personal attorney for Donald Trump, testified before the House Oversight Committee. The Washington Post published a bombshell article writing that during the Michael Cohen hearing, Congresswoman Plaskett was texting with Jeffrey Epstein. At 10:41 Eastern Time, Epstein texted Plaskett and asked,
I mean, when people say you're lying for Trump, bro, nobody lied for Trump. They just can't find proof, my friend. There's no proof that Donald Trump messed with little girls. Actually, there's Epstein victims saying that they never seen Donald Trump around no little girls or engage in any sexual activity. So, no, nobody's lying for Trump. I mean, you could probably say Virginia Dufresne's lying for Trump. I mean, if you want to sit there and victim blame or victim bash, go ahead, be my guest. I mean, you can say Ghislaine Epstein is probably lying about Trump, and I'll probably agree with you on that one because I don't trust Ghislaine Maxwell. My bad, Ghislaine Epstein. I said Ghislaine Maxwell. But let's be honest, though. Let's go with what the victims say, and they say that Donald Trump wasn't even involved. You trying to place him in involvement is just absurd and a bit desperate.
"Are you chewing?" The Congresswoman responded, "Not anymore." Epstein replied with a smiley face, and Plaskett explained, "Chewing interior of my mouth, bad habit from middle school." Epstein replied, "Sweet."
I mean, y'all was that close? Like, are you chewing? That's crazy. All right,
Epstein,
we gotta see this
at
again.
10:41 Eastern Time, Epstein texted Plaskett and asked, "Are you chewing?" The Congresswoman responded, "Not anymore." Epstein replied with a
Oh man, maybe Epstein might have dabbled in the dark a bit. You never know. I mean, it's possible.
smiley face, and Plaskett
Hey,
explained,
either my man was dabbling in the dark or he has blackmail info on her. Yes, he has blackmail on her. Only one of the two. I mean, if you can name me a three, please go ahead. I love to hear it.
"Chewing interior of my mouth, bad habit from middle school." Epstein replied, "Sweet. Gee, I was told that being friends or having any kind of connection with Jeffrey Epstein was bad."
Yep.
Later during the
But I mean, shoot, apparently if you're a Dem, you could text that Jeffrey Epstein and act like y'all friends, and it's all good. It's all good in the hood, homie, man. Look, bro, everybody texts Epstein, man. He's well known. It's all good if you're a Dem. Now, if you're a Republican, bro, we want you to step down. We want you to say that you're a pedophile. We want to crucify you to the cross. But if you're a Dem, bro, my nigga, it's all good, bro. The text bro away. Do what you gotta do, man. He's actually a cool guy at the end of the day, right? Like, what the fuck? That's absolutely irritating. I'm kind of irritated by that. Because it's like, I know I'm joking. I would love to be joking, but it does seem like if you're a Dem, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Literally text one of the most infamous pedophile human trafficker ever. And boy, let that be Trump. Y'all be running fucking wild. But it's a Dem and nothing to see here. I can't believe this. Oh, Lord. Oh, man. The blessings of being a Dem, huh?
hearing, Michael Cohen would say the following.
Well, again, when he called, Rona Graff yelled out to Mr. Trump, "Rogers on line 1," which was regular practice.
And that's his assistant.
That's his, yes.
All right.
So Epstein texted Plaskett and says, "Cohen brought up Rona, keeper of the secrets." Plaskett responded, "Rona?" and says, "Quick, I'm up next. Is that an acronym?" Epstein replied, "That's his assistant, Rona. She called out Roger on line 1, corroborator." And watch how Plaskett doesn't refer to Rona Graff by her last name. She calls her Miss Rona because she wasn't actually paying attention to Michael Cohen's testimony.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They
and
are.
Are there other people that we should be meeting with?
So Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
Uh-huh. You got to quickly give us as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
As Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is the Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his.
So Stacey Plaskett, a sitting congresswoman, was texting back and forth with Jeffrey Epstein. And this is not allegedly.
But it's all good, bro. She's a Dem, bro. It's all good. Bro. You protest too much. If you're a Dem, you can do whatever you want, bro. You can talk to pedophiles, dog, man. You can embezzle money. You can wish death on children, and it's all good, okay? As long as you're a Dem. Just make sure you're a Dem, though.
Because a statement from Plaskett's office admits as such. During the hearing, Congresswoman Plaskett received texts from staff, constituents, and the public at large offering advice, support, and in some cases, partisan vitriol, including from Epstein. Here's a dumb question. Why did Jeffrey Epstein have Stacey Plaskett's cell number? Well, I'm sure there's a good explanation, right? As a former prosecutor, she welcomes information that helps her get at the truth and took on the GOP that was trying to bury the truth. Oh, I see. Plaskett needed Epstein's help to take down Trump and the GOP. The Congresswoman has previously made clear her long record combating SA and human trafficking, her disgust with Epstein's deviant behavior, and her support for his victims.
But texting a human trafficker, though. Okay.
Oh, sure. You can see Plaskett's disgust for Epstein in their texts. Epstein texted, "Great outfit. You look great." To which Plaskett replied, "Thanks," with an exclamation point. According to a 2003 investigation by Jacob Samsian for Business Insider, at some point in fall 2018, Plaskett visited Epstein at his Manhattan mansion. He agreed to give the full $30,000 that Plaskett had asked him to contribute to the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee.
Really,
the DCCC ended up rejecting the donation.
Gotcha, bitch.
Well, I mean, just goes to show, like I said, if you're a Dem, you can do anything.
So it seems that her disgust was very limited, if not completely non-existent. In a May 2023 deposition in the Virginia Island government's lawsuit against JP Morgan Chase, Plaskett said, "To the best of my recollection, I recall that I was informed by my chief of staff that the DCCC informed him that Mr. Epstein's contribution would not be accepted by the DCCC." Plaskett was asked, "Okay, did you do anything to try and find out why the DCCC had rejected Mr. Epstein's donation?" Plaskett's answer, "I don't recall if it was already expressed to me in his letting me know that it was denied or if I got additional information. I don't recall." Plaskett was then asked, "Did you assume that it was related to his status as a sex offender?" To which Plaskett replied, "I was not sure of the totality of the circumstances."
Wow. So basically, I knew he was getting charged for something crazy, but I didn't really know everything. I didn't know all the details. Plausible deniability. Smart girl.
To put it in context, Congresswoman Plaskett was required to raise $250,000 in dues going to the DCCC. And that 30 grand would have gone a long way. And Plaskett wants you to believe that she didn't ask why a huge chunk of that fundraising was refused. That is, unless she knew beforehand and didn't need to ask why. So I would like to reiterate.
Oh, and shout out to Redacted Reality for continuing to show support. I just seen him. I appreciate the support.
That Plaskett's visit to the mansion and her learning that Epstein's donation was refused both occurred in 2018. And in 2019, she's texting with him during a congressional hearing. What the f? And for the last several months, when it comes to the Epstein files, Democrats haven't shut up about holding people accountable and continually trotting out this photo from 25 years ago to connect Donald Trump with Epstein and claim that Trump was complicit in Epstein's crimes. But when it comes to a Democrat who needs to be held accountable like Stacey Plaskett, well, it's different.
Yeah, it's different, huh? Real different, to the point where every Dem showed out and protected her. And here's the thing, I know if I ask the sensible Dems, like, do you guys support this? They'll say no. And if you ask the TDS style ones, they're going to tell you, oh, it's different. Oh, this is just Trump trying to go after her, when this has nothing to do with Trump. This is just information that's been released through Epstein's emails. That, yes, he had contact with this congresswoman and what happened to be texting her during, well, a congressional hearing. But it's all good, guys. because she's a Dem. Okay, so you just got to get over it.
Held accountable like Stacey Plaskett, well, it's different. I know you're shocked. Anyway, that's it for now.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the full gist of it. And you're telling me this is what Hakeem Jeffries is defending? This is what he's defending. Remember that part.
Sex offender is appropriate for a member of the House Democratic Caucus?
That's the third time you've asked me this question, and I'm going to give you the same exact answer. Our focus today is on making sure that the Jeffrey Epstein files were released. If you want to have a conversation with Stacey Plaskett about it, I'm sure she'd be willing to talk to you. It was an illegitimate effort to try to—
Man, she better come out and talk today. We need answers today.
remove her from the House Committee on Intelligence, and that was defeated in a bipartisan way.
Well, let me ask you about you.
Which is a damn shame, because I mean, if it was a Republican who got caught for texting Epstein like that, you guys would be pretty much saying that, oh, Trump is protecting his cronies. Oh, he's protecting people who was texting Epstein, who was in the middle of a Congress hearing. This is completely outrageous. This is how you know this is a fascist regime. Well, y'all would lose y'all fucking mind. Y'all have lost y'all mind. The fact that y'all literally will let a Dem get away with this, and you're not even holding your party accountable, not holding your senators, your congressmen accountable, not one bit, says a lot.
Because the White House has been highlighting an email that I'm sure you've seen today that Jeffrey Epstein got in 2013. They say it shows you were soliciting money and dinner from an Epstein. The email was not sent from you. It was sent from a political consulting firm called Dynamic SRG that says, we are thrilled to announce we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. Shoot us an email or give us a call if you would like to get involved. What's your response? Do you recall that email being sent to Jeffrey Epstein from that team?
Yeah, of course, I have no recollection of the email. I've never had a conversation with him, never met him, know nothing about him other than the extreme things that he's been convicted of doing. And that's why, I'm just strongly supportive of the effort, backing the survivors to make sure that everything can come out, whatever is in those Department of Justice files.
So you never got a donation from Jeffrey Epstein or anything like that?
Certainly not.
And just on this passing today, to this point, I mean, this is something that even Ro Khanna told me just a few moments ago, he never even thought it would get to this point today. I wonder what it says to you that the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, fought this so much and had a concern over, he was saying this discharge petition would create new victims, as he argued, because it was requiring the DOJ to release information where maybe the FBI hadn't reviewed it and determined it's not credible. I wonder what you made of how this culminated tonight.
Well, I think it was a decisive bipartisan vote that, I think clearly, despite all of the efforts, 7 weeks of Republicans being on a paid vacation and refusing to swear in Representative Adelita Grijalva. Why was that done? Because they didn't want her to become the 218th signature on the discharge petition that ultimately resulted in the vote today. And so I don't think the Speaker has any credibility as it relates to this issue, but I'm thankful for the outcome today, thankful for the decisive vote in the Senate, and now it's on its way to President Trump's desk.
And the Plaskett censure did not pass. There was a resolution rebuking Congressman Chuy Garcia. He had timed the announcement of his retirement shortly after the state's filing deadline, and that was after his chief of staff had declared her own candidacy for that position, basically leaving her as the only Democrat able to run for that seat. There are 23 Democrats who joined Republicans on the disapproval resolution. You urged members to oppose it. How come?
I think that it's an issue to be worked out by the people back in the great state of Illinois. Chuy Garcia has been a consistent progressive champion.
Hey, and shout out to Weaponized Autism. Hey, shout out to that guy for sending the fireworks for 3,000. That is a baller alert, by the way. So, and that also opens up the call-in lines and conspiracy hour. So shout out to my man. Shout out to Weaponized Autism. Man, I just like that name. I just like it.
For the disenfranchised, a voice for the voiceless. He's done a lot of good. And I think that it was a resolution of disapproval that I did not support, that there are a lot of issues, I think, of importance to the American people, including the failed Trump economy, the Trump tariffs that are crushing people, the Republican healthcare crisis, the refusal by my Republican colleagues to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, the fact that that is going to result in tens of millions of people experiencing dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles, People are going to be unable to go and afford to see a doctor when they need one. There are a whole host of issues that the American people just made clear 2 weeks ago during the general election that they want to see addressed. It's the reason why Republicans were decisively defeated across the country and up and down the ballot, and yet we continue
across the country. I mean, you gotta love how you sensationalize it across the country or up and down the east side. Actually, no, on this one select corner of the east side. You know, like, bro, it's not like he said, "Oh, we won across the country." No, sorry, bro. I mean, unless it's the presidency, you don't really win across the country. You win in those selected states or cities. And like you said, you guys won 2 blue states and 1 blue city. I mean, congratulations on winning what you guys already had.
you to come to the floor of the House of Representatives and they play partisan political games as opposed to dealing with the issues that matter relative to driving down the high cost of living and making life better.
And that's the problem. They're going to get exposed for this whole high cost living argument. I mean, if the Republicans, actually, I do believe this, the Republicans are going to start coming out with my argument. They're going to start comparing states like New York to places like Ohio, to places like Florida, and they're going to expose the Dems for having terrible affordability in their states. And I mean, like I said, I don't agree with the man geopolitically, but Mark Levin actually laid out a pretty good strategy for the Republicans. Like, how'd y'all lose on affordability? And that was a really good question. How y'all guys lose on affordability when all red states are more affordable than blue states? So how'd you lose on something that you guys have been dominating in for a while now? And all you had to do was compare the numbers and just expose the left as the liars that they are and be like, bro, the affordability crisis is in your states. Oh, this healthcare crisis that you guys manufactured through Obamacare and these healthcare subsidies that you set to expire this year. Yeah, that's on y'all as well. So I'm not sure why the Republicans haven't used that strategy, because honestly, it's a really good one. And it's funny how Mark Levin had to be the one to say it, but it is what it is. That yes, when it comes to affordability, Republicans beat Dems every single time because it is cheaper to live in red states than blue states.
For the American people.
I think it's fair to say there's bigger issues people care about, but even some Democrats have said, this is why people don't like politics. This is slimy, and it disenfranchises voters by not letting them pick who they want to be running in that race. Did they have a point?
I think they can speak for themselves. And certainly, my view on the situation was that there are things that we should be focused on in terms of solving problems for the American people, that the American people just decisively told us.
But here's the thing, though. You guys don't solve problems. You just place blame on the Republican. You're talking about, the healthcare crisis. That what healthcare system are we under? Oh, yes, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act that is getting more unaffordable for Americans by the year. Yeah, that's your healthcare crisis, my friend, that you guys honestly kind of set a timer on. I mean, you guys are the ones who set the timer on the healthcare subsidies in 2025. And now you're asking the Republicans to extend something that they've been had a disagreement on. Like, come on now.
2 weeks ago during the general election.
And here's the thing, an affordability crisis that he completely fails on himself. I mean, it's almost embarrassing for this guy to come up here and want to talk about affordability when he's living in the most expensive, honestly, one of the most expensive states in America. So let's just go ahead and do this little quick comparison. Now, if you're in a red state, tell me what red state you're living in. We can just run the numbers. Because, Ohio is 17% cheaper than New York. Like, this is what you're going to see across the board. So go ahead and give me your state, and we can go ahead and look it up. We could go ahead and see how almost every red state is cheaper to live in than New York. So I'm not sure what he's talking about affordability, because it seems like the affordability problem is in these blue states. And it's like this every single time. Crazy.
Wanted us to work on.
Oh, and shout out to my man Hellbat. I sent you some going in Discord about Cenk Uygur. By the way, start charging judges for releasing criminals. October 12, 2080. Whoa. 10, 12, 2080 times with felonies. Start charging judges for releasing criminals. That is true. We should start doing that. Like, if you release a criminal and you ain't actually like give him a proper like trial or whatever, or actually look at these charges, and he goes out and commits a more heinous crime, you should be held accountable for that. I mean, here's the thing. The whole problem with the lady getting stabbed on the bus, by that one black guy, that was because the judge kept letting that guy out 14 freaking times in hopes that he would go to this what was it? It was this mental health program that she gets kickback from. That's actually she has ownership in. So she was trying to take criminals and have them go through her mental health program that she makes money off of.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, thank you for joining us again tonight. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
But yeah, so that's pretty much the savage reality of what was going on when it comes to, honestly, the message of Hakeem Jeffries is that he's pretty much blaming the Republicans for all the problems that his party has created. I mean, like I said, when it comes to affordability, Republicans are doing great on that. And I kind of wish that they did what I did during the election, because I'm pretty sure that might have not have won the Republicans, the election, but at least they'd have made their message clear and pretty much shown that, yo, we're way better on affordability than these guys. And for anybody to say anything different, I mean, let's be real, you're sounding crazy. We could run the numbers all day. And it always comes out to the fact that the red state's always going to be cheaper. It just is what it is. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this conspiracy hour, man, because this is actually a pretty good video. All right, here. Well, actually, first, let me go check on Hellbat's video in the meantime. So I'll go ahead and I'll play this. What was that? I think it's debate on Fox News. While I go pull up Hellbat's video.
But these elections last couple Tuesdays was a huge wake-up call because he is now dialed in on affordability. He's banging the drum, and now he'll probably go into campaign mode. He's the best when he's in that retail politic mode, when he works the McDonald's fry machine, when he puts on the trucker thing. Send him out to a cattle ranch, send him out to a farm, go to a small business that's been helped by the tariffs. Do something like that. Because next year is the crucial year. Next year, the tax cuts that set in, all the trade deals, all the foreign investment flow in. And if you could get rates down and start fast tracking power plants and housing startups, you can really, really create a boom. But the American people need to help themselves too. The government can't do everything. You got to snatch the American dream. You got to sacrifice. When you're young, you got to bust your butt. You got to fall in love. You got to take risks. You got to save money. All of those things are out there for the taking. You just have to grab it.
All right. So, Kennedy, Jesse didn't answer my question. So I posed it to you.
That's how I know he needs to run for office.
Yes, exactly.
Because he will take anything and twist it around to something he wants to talk
Exactly. So you have Trump, who's 80-20 on every issue. He's right on the right side of issues, but the Democrats don't join it because it's Trump. What does Trump do is he sees that affordability is a good issue. And he jumps into it with different solutions. That's what the Dems should have tried.
They
Hold the F on. There ain't no way. Ain't no way. All right, guys, check this out real quick. Hellbat sent this to me, but I don't know. Is this AI?
I believe that if I were the ruler, the benevolent dictator of the world, I would legalize bestiality where you are giving. Where you are pleasuring the animal.
I mean, I almost want to run that through the AI real quick. Like, bro, I almost don't believe it. Like, there's just no way he'd be dumb enough to say something like that. Hopefully. But it's young Chank. We all say crazy things in our younger days. Even I have. I never supported bestiality. I never went that crazy, but I've said some wild things back in my youth. Like, but supporting bestiality was not one. I'll tell you that right now. Well, learn something new about people every day. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into conspiracy hour, man. And I appreciate the support, guys. Let's get right into it. Let's learn how to spot propaganda.
It's brought to you by Upside. Pop quiz. Which of these statements is true? Eggs raise your cholesterol. You need 8 glasses of water a day. Milk builds strong bones and teeth. Trick question. None of those are true. Diamonds are rare, right? No, they're not. Depression comes from a chemical imbalance in the brain. Nope. Now, these aren't mistakes or outdated science. These are psychological operations, psyops, designed to control what you buy, what you think, and how you live. We're being programmed every minute of every day, and most people don't know it. But after today, you'll know exactly how you're being manipulated. Because all PSYOPs follow a pattern, and I'm going to show you a simple formula that can detect a PSYOP with scary accuracy. We'll even use it on real cases. But I'm warning you, once you learn the pattern, you'll see it everywhere, and it's going to make you angry.
Matter of fact, you using the whole fist talk?
Literally.
Hey there, Debunk Daddy-O. I got a little situation.
Hey, yo, Jet, bro. He said what he's been doing with the peanut butter, bro. Hey. Oh, they're not. All right. If you don't know what that means, I'm not explaining it.
No, whatever this is, I don't want any part of it.
Oh, don't be like that. I'm living that jazz life now. I'm mellow and possess a world where it's young. I got a Barry sax and everything.
Barry sax?
Baritone saxophone.
I know what a Barry is. What's this about living the jazz life?
Hecklefish and the smooth operators. We've been hitting the clubs every night. A real underground scene. Mostly because the fire marshal shut us down. But the crowd digs me. They say I'm unforgettable.
Why? Because of the music?
Because they won't leave when they close. Listen, gig life ain't cheap. Gas, groceries, shrimp cocktails. My sax baby.
Hold on. Now, I ain't about to make you just listen to this whole thing. I ain't about to do y'all like that. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this. If you do want to engage in that, go ahead. But other than that, let's go ahead and get right to it, because god damn, these are long.
Let me step outside the script for just a minute. For a couple of years, I've been wanting to do an episode on PSYOPs and the techniques to detect them. So when Sean Ryan asked if I'd help spread the word about his new podcast series, I immediately said yes. I'll link below to where you can listen to it. It's an 8-part series on PSYOPs. And Sean said I can cover PSYOPs however I wanted. So here's where the simulation or the universe or whatever you want to call it comes in. I thought it'd be interesting to talk about something called the NCI Engineered Reality Scoring System. Now, this is a 20-question test designed to detect manipulation. The guy who built it, Chase Hughes, spent 2 decades training military and intelligence personnel. Navy SEAL.
I'm sorry, but Rose T, I'm not sure how out of touch your character got to be for you to not understand that if you call somebody a pedophile, why would they like you? I mean, are you that out of touch? Like, bro, go touch grass if you need somebody to sit there and explain why somebody would not like you for that. And you could go ahead and go back to the Reddit. But send me that Reddit, though. Send me the Reddit. If you found out on Reddit, please send me that Reddit link. But other than that, though, have a good night.
CIA, FBI. This guy literally trains the people who run PSYOPs for a living. Now, I followed his work for years, and his system is so simple, but so brutally effective, it completely changed the way I consume news. So I told Sean's team, hey, I'm thinking of covering Chase Hughes and the NCI test. Perfect. Chase is on the show this week. I believe in science. That was a sign. Now, when creators say this is the video they don't want you to see, it's usually clickbait, and I should know because I've done it. But this truly is information that the people in power don't want you to know. This is the secret sauce, the 11 herbs and spices. Today, we're going to name names, we're going to speak truth to power, and yes, I'm going to expose people you admire.
Hey, let's go.
So, the NCI test, what is this thing? Well, NCI stands for Narrative Credibility Index, and Chase Hughes studied hundreds of PSYOPs. Government propaganda, corporate lies, social media manipulation, all of it. And he found 20 patterns that appear consistently in every PSYOP. Things like timing, emotional manipulation, tribalism, specific messaging. 20 questions, score each 1 through 5. Total above 70, that's a PSYOP. Below 40, probably legit. Between 40 and 70, that's the most dangerous of all because that's a PSYOP based around the truth, but with an agenda. And that agenda is never to help you. Okay, that's the scoring system to keep in mind. 0 to 100. Here we go. October 10th, 1990. Now, fossils like me will remember this. A 15-year-old Kuwaiti girl named Maria testified before Congress. She was volunteering at a hospital when Iraqi soldiers stormed in.
The second week after the invasion, I volunteered at the Al-Adan hospital with 12 other women. While I was there, I saw the Iraqi soldiers come into the hospital with guns. They took the babies out of the incubators, took the incubators and left the children to die on the cold floor. It was horrifying. I could not help but think of my nephew, who, if born premature, might have died that day as well. The Iraqis have destroyed everything in Kuwait. They stripped the supermarkets of food, the pharmacies of medicine, the factories of medical supplies, ransacked their houses, and
This was a lie. I know. Like, it's a very convincing performance, but this actually did turn out to be a lie.
the factories of medical supplies, ransacked their houses, and tortured neighbors and friends.
Now, Congress demanded action. Senators called for war. And a few months later, the United States was at war with Iraq. So let's run the test on that story. Timing, 5 out of 5. Her testimony landed exactly when the Bush administration needed public support for a war that nobody wanted. Emotional manipulation, 5 out of 5. It doesn't get more emotional than dead babies. That's psychological napalm.
Yep.
Uniform messaging, 5 out of 5. Every news outlet told the story the same way, with the same language, same talking points. There was no independent reporting. Missing information, 5 out of 5. There were no other witnesses, no follow-up interviews, no verification allowed. Authority pressure, 5 out of 5. This was congressional testimony, not some rumor on Usenet.
Did you just say Usenet?
It was 1990. A lot of the internet in the 80s and 90s was Usenet, news groups.
No. I know what Usenet is. Let me ask you 2 questions, yeah?
Go ahead.
1, were you on the internet before 1990?
Yes.
2, could you find a date for prom?
No.
Uh-huh.
Now, we could run through all 20 questions for this, but you can already see the pattern. The final score was 88 out of 100. That's an overwhelming sign of a psyop, and that's exactly what it was, though we didn't know it at the time. 10 years later, the truth came out. Naria was the daughter of the Kuwaiti ambassador. There were no dead babies. She was never at the hospital.
It was all part of a campaign to turn Saddam Hussein, at least in the public consciousness, into Adolf Hitler. And the feeling was that they couldn't sell the Gulf War without this. In other words, they had to cheat to win.
The NCI system predicted the lie a decade before anyone admitted to it. Over 100 Americans dead, 500 wounded, 30,000 Iraqis killed, and a bill to U.S. taxpayers of $1.3 trillion. Those closer to $1.9 trillion if you factor in the interest we had to pay to borrow the money to fight a war based on a lie. But where did the lie come from? A company that few Americans have ever heard of, but every politician and business person knows. The first Iraq War was the product of the PR agency Hill and Knowlton. And when you look into the history of Hill and Knowlton, you know what you find? A whole lot of dollars and a whole lot of death.
And a goodbye, Andrew. I mean, hey, bro, that's what you wanted. I mean, that's what you were trying to do. And I gave you a reasonable warning that if you try to disrespect the host, you come here disrespectful, well, you will be kicked. I mean, you can disagree with Trump all you guys want, but the problem is that you guys don't just want to disagree with Trump. You guys want to disrespect others. I mean, you can go do that childish shit on the liberal platforms, okay? I mean, you can go to guys like Parker or Dean Withers who want to sit there and try to dunk on MAGA all day. You can do that over there, but here we have respectful discourse and we're a bit more mature. I mean, I know that's not something you guys are used to, so that's why I say you can always go to Dean Withers lives. You can always go to that get Parker Get a Job live, and they will treat you just fine. I mean, you can sit there in your echo chamber all you want.
The Gulf War wasn't the first time Hill and Knowlton weaponized public opinion for profit. New York City, winter of 1953.
I gave you a chance.
The executives of America's tobacco companies gathered at the Plaza Hotel. They had a problem. Their own scientists had confirmed that cigarettes cause cancer. The research was simple and clear, and the public was starting to ask questions. And if this information got out, the entire industry would collapse. We're talking billions of dollars, millions of jobs, all gone overnight. So they called in a specialist. John W. Hill, co-founder of Hill and Knowlton, the PR firm that would later orchestrate the lie that dragged us into the Gulf War. Hill understood that doubt was more powerful than truth. People wanted to smoke. They like smoking. But if it was dangerous, most people would stop. But if it might be dangerous, they'd keep smoking. So Hill and Knowlton worked their strategy. They formed the Tobacco Industry Research Committee, which sounds official and scientific, but it wasn't. The committee existed to create doubt, nothing else.
Ah, yes, doubt. The duct tape of corporate crime. Can't prove it's safe? Make sure nobody can prove it's dangerous either. It's a beautiful thing in a completely evil sort of way.
It kind of reminds me of like what the lumber company did to like marijuana back in the days, because they didn't want the marijuana plant to start being used, as a cheaper, alternative than lumber. Well, they came up with all types of study that marijuana killed brain cells, and that it's just this super dangerous drug that doesn't really have any use, not even the hemp. So yeah, you go and see how corporations kind of get in the way of I'll be real with you. They get in the way of true ingenuity. I mean, let's be real. If we didn't have these power corporations holding us back, we might have, I don't know. Shoot, already know we might have unlimited energy by now. You never know. But due to the fact that you can't make money off wireless or unlimited energy, they don't want you to get that. I mean, if they can't make money off it, why would they want that for you?
Hill and Knowlton funded studies designed to muddy the waters. They hired scientists who would testify that more research was needed. They paid for ads saying the health risks weren't proven. And they made sure that phrase was heard over and over. No proof. No proof. Journalists believed they had a responsibility to show both sides. So the media gave equal airtime to tobacco-funded researchers and actual cancer specialists. That made it seem like a fair debate. But it wasn't, because one side was lying. 16 years later, an internal memo from Brown and Williamson spelled out the strategy in one sentence.
Doubt is our product, since it is the best means of competing with the body of fact that exists in the minds of the general public.
Doubt is the product, and the plan worked perfectly for years. So let's score it. Cherry-picked data, 5 out of 5. They only published studies that supported their narrative, studies that showed cancer risks were buried or attacked. Authority overload, 5 out of 5. They recruited credentialed scientists. They created fake research committees. They flooded medical journals with industry-funded papers. Suppression of dissent, 5 out of 5. Scientists who...
Hey, shout out Daniel Castro, bro. Shout out Castro. He said, Brian, your butt's an echo chamber. I'm like, whoa. Whoa. Well,
published research linking smoking to cancer were harassed, discredited, or had funding pulled. Financial gain, 5 out of 5. The industry made billions of dollars. So every year of delay meant billions of more dollars.
What cigarette do you smoke, doctor?
I mean, hey, man, that's how companies work. Hey, we're giving you cancer and we're not going to tell you just to make some profit. So, hey, it's profit over everything.
Once again, the brand named most was Camel. Yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
The final score? 82 out of 100. Clear signs of a psychological operation. And here's the proof. In the 1990s, whistleblowers leaked 30 million pages of internal tobacco documents. The memos spelled it all out. They knew cigarettes killed people. They knew nicotine was addictive, and they lied for 40 years. The NCI system predicted it decades earlier.
40 years of lying to the public? Those are rookie numbers. The Fed's been doing it since 1913. Audit the Fed!
The fossil fuel industry used the same type of manufactured reality to cast doubt on global warming, which became climate change, which became controversial. And that's perfect. Remember, it doesn't matter if the climate is changing. What matters is that people keep fighting about it. The sugar industry said sugar played no role in diabetes or heart disease. They blamed fat instead. Remember when there was a lot of food labeled low fat that was marketed as healthy? Well, it wasn't healthy at all. And you know what those low-fat products were loaded with? Sugar. Now, opioids might be the most documented corporate...
And shout out to Ove. She says, there is a guy who created fuel out of plastic. I mean, shoot, yeah, I can believe that. I mean, yeah, there's a guy who created wireless electricity. There's guys who created a 0-point energy, or who's believed to discover how to use 0-point energy. All types of stuff that, I mean, we could be a more prosperous society off of. But, hey, you can't make money off it. So they're not willing to give it to us. I mean, to look up the Invention Secrecy Act. I mean, trust me, it pisses you off because you actually realize that, we could be a lot further ahead in technology than we are right now. And the only reason we're not is because of corporate interest.
PSYOP in modern history. False claims that OxyContin wasn't addictive. They paid doctors to lie. Scientific studies were written by PR agencies, not by scientists.
A source tells ABC News that Purdue offered a package that could be worth up to $10 to $12 billion. In a statement, the company explains that while Purdue Pharma is prepared to defend itself vigorously in the opioid litigation, it sees little good coming from years of wasteful litigation and appeals.
Different issues, same high NCI scores, same patterns of manipulation used for 100 years. But when those patterns went digital, there would be consequences that nobody predicted.
And all right, now I would like to shout out to this guy right here. Like, Mark, bro, shout out. That is your third account. That is your third account, my friend. So I want to see if you got a fourth one. Let's see. I mean, it's kind of crazy how they'll sit there and talk ish about me, but hey, they'll go ahead and create a whole nother account, add another profile pic just to hop right back in here. It's so cute. You gotta love it.
Corporate psyops have been running for decades in print and on TV. Then social media put those same manipulation tactics in everyone's pocket. Ethiopia, November 2021. Professor Mayarig Amare taught chemistry. 60 years old, father of 4. He was Tigrayan living in the Amhara region during the Ethiopian Civil War. That made him a target. A Facebook page with 50,000 followers posted his photo. They called him a junta, accused him of being an enemy. They posted his home address. Now, his son reported the post to Facebook right away, multiple times, begged them to take the post down. No response. 3 weeks later, men followed the professor home from work. They executed him in front of his house. The killers chanted junta as they walked away, the same word from the Facebook posts. 8 days after the murder, Facebook finally responded and removed the posts. 8 days too late. Frances Haugen was a product manager at Facebook. She quit in May 2021, 4 months before this murder. She testified before Congress about what was happening in Ethiopia. She said the platform's algorithm was causing ethnic violence. Posts that made people angry got more engagement. More engagement meant more ad revenue. So the algorithm promoted hate. And everyone with a Facebook account knows this. Facebook employees warned executives the feds are asking questions, but nothing changed. Haugen said that conflicts fueled by Facebook had resulted in hundreds of thousands of deaths across multiple countries.
So there used to be a part of the company that was focused on making sure Facebook was a constructive force in the world, in society. Positive force in elections, that kind of thing. And they dissolved it right after the US 2020 election.
So let's score it. Emotional manipulation, 5 out of 5. The posts weaponized hate during a civil war. Uniform messaging, 5 out of 5. The same false claims spread across multiple pages and posts. Financial gain, 4 out of 5. Facebook's algorithm promoted hate because hate generates engagement. Engagement generates ad revenue. Missing information, 5 out of 5. There was no fact-checking, no verification, just viral hate. The final score, 78 out of 100.
Dang, he said no fact-checking, no nothing, just viral hate. I mean, wow, that's kind of going on right now. But shout out K Native RN. Hey, you might just be a registered nurse. Hey, shout out to you for sending in the jewels, also sending in the hundreds. I appreciate that support. So shout out the K Native RN.
Strong signs of a psychological operation, but not run by a government, not run by a corporation selling cigarettes, run by an algorithm optimized for profit. Same patterns, same high scores, same deadly consequences. But now we're going to test something harder, because psyops aren't always black and white. Sometimes both sides of an argument use the same manipulation techniques, and that's when things get really dangerous. Algorithms can amplify manipulation from any side. Sometimes that means both sides of a debate score high for psyop tactics. Early 2020, COVID-19 was spreading and the world was shutting down. Scientists scrambled to understand where the virus came from, and 2 narratives emerged. Narrative 1, natural origin. The virus jumped from animals to humans at a seafood market in Wuhan. This happens. SARS did it. MERS did it. It's called zoonotic spillover, and it's normal. Narrative 2, lab leak. The virus escaped from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, a few miles from that market. That lab studied bat coronaviruses. Maybe an accident happened. Both seemed plausible. Both needed investigation. Then on February 19th, 2020, The Lancet published a letter signed by 27 prominent scientists. The letter said anyone who claimed the virus was a lab leak was a conspiracy theorist. That shut down debate immediately.
Anyone can say anything, right? It's conspiracy theories. Everybody has a theory.
The letter showed up on every news network. Social media platforms flagged lab leak posts as misinformation. Some users were thrown off the platforms.
Yep. And then what? About 4 or 5 years later, they said, okay, yeah, it did come from China. It was a lab leak out of the Wuhan lab in China. Our bad, guys. Our bad for trying to censor you guys and call you crazy for telling the truth. But yes, it did turn out to be true.
One side said natural origin is the only scientific answer. The debate is over. So let's score that campaign. Suppression of dissent. 5 out of 5. Scientists were afraid to discuss lab leak publicly. It was career suicide. Authority overload. 5 out of 5. 27 scientists.
And to be fair though, it was a bioengineering lab that America had ties to in China. So yes, our fingerprints was on it.
Lancet letter. And a quirky little man named Fauci worked for the government, said that he was the science.
But they're really criticizing science because I represent science.
Uniform messaging. 5 out of 5. Every outlet said the lab leak was a debunked conspiracy theory, word for word.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarmingly, some media outlets are true without checking facts first. Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Missing information. 4 out of 5.
I hate when they do that because it is kind of creepy how everybody in the news just get out and say the exact same line, word for word, bar for bar, like y'all couldn't have wrote your own way of saying it.
Critical details were hidden, like the fact that the letter was organized and signed by Peter Daszak. His organization, EcoHealth Alliance, funded research at the Wuhan lab. He did not disclose that, but his emails prove it. Financial gain. 4 out of 5. If the lab leak was true, funding for gain-of-function research would be at risk. So the natural origin is settled science campaign scored 70 out of 100. That's a PSYOP score. But now score the other side, the lab leak. Those supporters said the lab leak was obvious. Anyone who denied it was a shill or an asset for the Chinese Communist Party. Authority overload. 5 out of 5. Politicians and commentators were saying settled science before any real investigations were complete. Tribal division. 5 out of 5. They made it a political issue. And by the way, that's how I knew COVID was a PSYOP from the start. Anytime you see an issue politicized that initially wasn't, it's probably intentional. Remember, at first, all we cared about was a cure or a treatment, but we needed to know the origin of the virus to fight it. But
it got divisive as hell. It turns into the vaxxers versus the anti-vaxxers, and the anti-vaxxers turned out to be right in the end.
Suddenly, a health issue became a political issue. Cherry pick data. 4 out of 5.
Actually, people was outright insulting your intelligence for not taking it. And for them to turn out to be wrong in the end. Can you imagine being so insulting to somebody just for not taking let's be real, a vaccine that didn't really have too much experimentation done on it, especially human experimentation. Isn't that kind of crazy just to try to sit there and doubt somebody's intelligence for not wanting to take that?
Leak supporters only discussed research that supported their side. Emotional manipulation. 4 out of 5. Anger at China. COVID is a political issue. Turned Americans against each other. The lab leak is obvious campaign scored 66 out of 100. Again, that's a PSYOP score. Both sides scored high. You were being manipulated from both directions. Now, the NCI system doesn't know which side is right. It doesn't care. It tells you when someone is trying to control what you think. High scores on both sides of an issue mean you never get an honest debate. You get information warfare. Look for the patterns. They are there. And they apply to everything controversial from 100 years ago to right now. For example, let's talk about UFOs.
Things
The
get
same
spicy.
manipulation patterns appear in every controversial topic, including UFO disclosure. January 2025, Jake Barber stepped forward as a whistleblower. Former Air Force Special Ops, combat control, helicopter pilot. He told News Nation he worked on secret UFO retrieval missions for 30 years. Barber described flying a helicopter to recovery sites, lifting objects from the ground. One night, he got within 150 feet of something he'd never seen before. An egg-shaped craft, white, metallic, about the size of an SUV, no engine, no thermal signature. News Nation verified his credentials. 3 other military vets backed up his story on camera. Russ Coldhart, the journalist covering it, said the footage was about to change everything. But he said that before. This is why I'm skeptical of UFO whistleblowers. Their stories always have high PSYOP scores. So let's score Jake Barber. Timing, 5 out of 5. The story broke in January right before Trump's inauguration, during massive drone sightings over military bases. The perfect moment for maximum attention. Overuse of novelty, 5 out of 5. Look for hyperbolic words and phrases like unprecedented, groundbreaking, could change the world. Uniform messaging, 4 out of 5. Non-human craft, non-human biologics, government secrecy. All news reports use the same wording. Financial gain, 5 out of 5. Barber formed a company called Skywatchers LLC around the time he came out as a whistleblower. His company will conduct scientific studies of anomalous aerial phenomena. Now, we don't know whether he'll charge a fee for this, but get ready to have your mind blown. He's working on a book.
There's always a book.
There's always a book. Missing information, 4 out of 5. News Nation teased footage but showed very little of it. There's no way to verify it. Cherry-picked data, 4 out of 5. Jake Barber doesn't have the training for covert ops, but he says he'll testify under oath. Also, the video footage, it wasn't his.
And spaceship that looks like it belongs to Mork from Ork, 5 out of nanu.
The score, 63 out of 100. Strong likelihood of a PSYOP. But here's the complication. A high score means manipulation, not true or false. The reality of UFOs comes down to one of 3 things. 1, disclosure is real, but it's being packaged, meaning the government is revealing the truth, but using PSYOP techniques to control how, when, and what we're allowed to know. Option 2, it's a full PSYOP. Classified aircraft testing needs a cover story. UFOs are perfect. As long as we're debating whether a craft is from Zeta Reticuli or Gliese, we're not asking Lockheed or Raytheon what they're up to. Option 3, it's a distraction. Remember all the drones flying over the bases for weeks? That was the real story. But a UFO story pops up and captures attention. And notice how the drone story just vaporized? Since 2017.
I mean, that is true. We were talking about gravitic propulsion, about these drones moving without propellers. And all of a sudden, you know, this little alien story come out. And then all of a sudden, what was her name? Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt came out and just said, oh, yeah, nothing to see here. Those are all authorized drones being flown. We just didn't know about it until now. So nothing to see. Everybody move on. And that's exactly what we did.
17, this disclosure narrative has been building. David Grush, Lou Elizondo, congressional hearings.
It's hard to push back on stuff like that, to be quite honest, especially when it comes to aliens or hidden advanced technology.
Videos. Each story scores high for manipulation tactics, but each could still contain some truth. And that's the gray area, where facts and PSYOPs blend together, where high scores don't give you easy answers. The NCI score shows you how information is delivered. You still have to decide whether you believe it or not. And that's what makes this so hard. Who can you trust to tell you the truth?
We see people going out on podcasts and stuff that have talking points from the government.
Do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
So this was 33 was the first documented.
That is the earliest one I can talk about. Yeah.
There's something that predates that?
You could infer that.
And if you have someone that has talking points from the government, that's a spokesperson, not a whistleblower. If I'm sitting here and I say, well, I can't say this, but I can tell you this one thing, that's a controlled government release of information.
Psychological operations are weapons being used against you. So use the NCI scoring system as a countermeasure to manipulation. It's a 20-point test. That's it. It's just a number. No partisan politics, no agenda. Download it now and start using it on news coverage, corporate messaging, government statements, social media campaigns, anything. Once you see the pattern, you'll see it everywhere. Every news story will look suspicious. Every expert will seem bought. And everything you hear will sound manufactured. And that's exactly what the real power in America wants. They want us suspicious of each other. They want us divided, because that division creates paralysis. And that is a meta-psyop. Now, I want you to really hear what I'm about to tell you. Every time you fight about politics on Facebook or X or anywhere, you are being manipulated. So stop it. Remember, anger gets more clicks. And Americans hating each other means we're not watching the powerful, and we're not asking the real questions.
Like what really happened to Epstein?
I told you we're not gonna...
Release the files!
But that's exactly my point. We need to focus on the things that unite us, not divide us.
Yeah, what you talking about, human?
Think of it this way. Two neighbors. One is a stuffy conservative. The other is a bleeding heart liberal. Now, those two neighbors have very different views on abortion, education, guns, just about everything. So
Yeah.
they fight.
I mean, yeah, us and the libs do argue about a lot of things, but we do agree that the corporations are a bit shady and they do hold too much power. I mean, we agree on that, but we have different takes or have different ways we want to handle that. So yeah, we should focus on what we do agree on instead of always just bringing up what we don't agree. But here's the problem, though. There is some people that on both sides, I'll admit, but let's just say, for the sake of argument, let's just say there's too many people on the Democrat side that don't even want to talk to us because they truly believe we're fascist. They truly believe we're a cult. We're in a cult. When, I mean, let's be real, they just did the most cultish thing ever. I mean, a lady literally got caught talking to Epstein, all nice and all that good stuff. And let that have been a Republican, they'd have been on him. But instead, they protected that lady, even though she did something that they'd have crucified anybody else over. So it kind of goes to show that, yeah, well, if you're going to call out a cult, if you're going to call cult behavior on, MAGA, then why don't y'all call it out on your own side as well? And we can sit there and both agree when one of our side displays cult behavior, but just don't sit there like you guys don't have that in y'all as well. And I'm not saying that we're a cult. I'm just saying that, yes, there are some guys in our group that do follow Donald Trump like a cult. Just like there's some guys in your group that follow Democrat politicians like it's a cult. That lays into TDS like it's a cult. So you can't sit there and act like you don't have those tendencies on y'all side, especially with these examples that I've just brought up, like Jay Jones and this lady over here that was texting Jeffrey Epstein. That's a Dem. I mean, isn't that cult behavior too? When no matter what your member does, you guys find an excuse to just let him off?
About all.
Isn't that what you pretty much get mad at us for doing with Trump, which we don't believe that we do, but isn't that what you say that we do?
All those things.
Yeah, I think I had those guys over for Thanksgiving. Exhausting, sheesh.
Right. But you know what those two neighbors with very different political opinions want? They both want to know the truth about UFOs. They both want to know the truth about COVID.
The truth about Epstein!
That's exactly right. It's that simple. That's what unites us. The truth.
Well, that and bacon.
You're stepping all over my dramatic ending, pal.
I'm just saying, everybody loves bacon. Let's start a Bacon Unites movement. Pork, nature's candy.
Psychological operations are running all around us all the time. Everyone is trying to control how you think. But I gave you a tool to fight back, and I showed you how it works. What you do now is up to you. And I don't think I can end with a better message than Sean does in his own PSYOP series.
This series started by asking who is pulling the strings. Maybe the real question should be, why do we keep handing them over?
Well, that was a banger of a line.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. My name is...
All right, guys, we got to go ahead and end it on this one because, well, I'm running low on time. So I'll go ahead and end out with a couple clips, man. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. So either double tap that screen real quick, go ahead and hit the icon up there and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hey, enjoy the video, guys. Peace.
It must suck to be that dumb. Goat's milk latte drinking, avocado toast eating. Life is hard. but it's harder when you're stupid. I don't know why we have to give money to countries that hate us. They should be able to hate us for free. They can kiss my ass. Somebody at the White House has been smoking the devil's lettuce, okay? The spending porn on pet projects, it's just chock full of spending porn. There's an enormous amount of spending porn. You hate cops just because of cops? The next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead. Next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead. Call a criminal. Call a meth head. As I've said about her before, I think she's the reason there are directions on a shampoo bottle. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Republicans aren't perfect, but the other side is crazy. These people are about 10 exits past normal. My Democratic friends, Brian, seem determined to find out what it's like to be a Jets fan. God created the world, but everything else is made in China. With respect, there are times, particularly recently, when I think Speaker Pelosi is one of those people who tried Tide Pods.